Ho-hum, right back to all-time highs here this morning for stock futures as we get going on what could be a very interesting day here. More Iran-U.S. progress to come, potentially. We'll get into that coming up. Oil flying around once again. Very volatile overnight session back to the upside right now for both WTI and Brent crude. We'll touch on that coming up as well. Big changes at Apple. I'm sure everyone has heard. If you haven't, not sure what you've been doing so far this morning. New CEO coming for Apple. Tim Cook finally going to take a step back. Executive chairman going to be his new title. Is this positive or not? We'll talk about it coming up as well. So lots to get into day ahead of Tesla earnings. Also after the close tomorrow night, we'll bring that to you live as it happens. The guy's working overtime around here trying to get... I mean, it's still kind of a mess, but there's wires all over the place and new cameras being installed, and going to be a good one tomorrow for Tesla. But yeah, I mean, initial thoughts here for this Apple change.
So I like it and I don't like it. And then there's always a good and bad side to everything. So you got a product guy, you got an engineer, sort of, I don't want to say Steve Jobs protege, but more of a product guy. So if you're looking for, you know, new innovations to come out. You know, he's one of the guys that's responsible for the M series and the A series processors. So is the guy who's coming in to fill his role. Now, could anybody have run Apple in the logistics way that Tim Cook has for the last decade and a half? A lot of people think, you know, he's an operations master. So I don't know. I think companies go through phases, and I think we definitely need a product guy because you know, iPhone's gonna turn 20 next year, dude. You know what I mean? So we need that next form factor, and I think that's really why they put him in. So we'll see.
Arguably, the AI attempts from Apple have just fallen on their face over and over and over again. I think this, you know, Google arrangement can be good for them. It's just a matter of how they come through on the product side. So. Yeah, and it's almost as if they, you know, and credit to them, it's worked brilliantly when Tim Cook took over. You know, it was the same. He was there for 20 plus years. He was, you know, in the wings, working his way, you know, up in the company. And they've done the same thing this time around. So, you know, worked brilliantly the last time. Why not do it again?
And this guy's, he's an Apple insider. He's been at the company for about half his life. 2001, I think he worked 4 years in some virtual reality company that, you know, was sort of inconsequential to his career. But what I do like is, you know, when you look at Apple's AI strategy, the AI strategy has been, let's keep AI on device through small language models. So how do you do that? Well, you have to have excellent processors. Well, Apple's done that through the A series and the M series. So if you're looking for that bet to go through, it's really about how well you process these things on device. And so we'll see if he can kind of narrow that down. So far, they haven't been able to do that.
The price action was interesting. I don't know if you saw it after the close last night when this first came out. It was downside initially. I mean, the algos react to Tim Cook's leaving. Oh my God, sell. But then it got bought right back up. And like right now, we're basically almost exactly where we went out at the end of the day yesterday. So
I think, you know, the market worries about CEO transitions for $4 trillion companies, Brendo.
Exactly.
So, you know
yeah, I mean, there's a lot at stake. But as they've done before, they've proven that they know what they're doing and have been incredibly successful at it. So a lot of people, I mean, I was listening to an interview last night, probably 7, 8 o'clock on Bloomberg, with an analyst who was ecstatic about this and has been pounding the table for change and, you know, for the next, you know, version of a CEO to come into Apple for months and months and months. So, I mean, there's that side of the coin too. I think a lot of people are looking for, okay, as you said, you know, iPhone's going to be 20. What's next for them?
And that's the thing. And another thing too, like he was sort of slated to take over the helm. I think what the market was shocked by was that it was now. Danny Ives came on yesterday and was basically saying, well, they expected, the market expected, you know, him to be around for another year and change. So the fact that it came out, you know, with this, not at an earnings report, not at a major event, just, hey, it's a Monday, let's announce the change.
Yeah, and ahead of earnings, obviously, to come here in the next couple of weeks. So going to be an interesting day here, guys, for Apple. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. It is going to be an interesting day for Apple. Although Apple's not the one kicking the door down for the all-time high like Amazon is over that over their latest headline. The old "you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours" continues with Anthropic there. But you know what? Who needs Apple? Everybody. Who needs Amazon? Who needs the Qs or the SPY at all-time highs? You don't need any of it because apparently you could just buy Beyond Meat and Avis and then retire. And that's what we're all learning. Well, the other thing too is, hey, what's up, Randy?
What's up, brother?
Oh, he's firing double barrels. They're even more green than yesterday, which is, all right. That's okay, because I have the one from yesterday, so I'm always, I think ahead.
Man.
That's what it's all
Thanks,
about, brother.
Always.
Whoa, appreciate it. Yeah,
I'm good, brother. Thank you very much. No, I'm good.
You know you want this. You know you want
No,
this.
it's too early. It's too early for that, man. Yeah. All right, thanks, man. You got the peer pressure. The peer pressure. No, $100 billion deal with Anthropic, Amazon signing one. Also starting up the AI build-out in India as well, too, with Amazon Web Service. So a couple catalysts, tailwinds under Amazon's belt. But I mean, as for Apple, guys, we talk about peacetime and wartime CEOs. I think it's a little bit time for a change. And you know what? They're doing that. And I like this move personally, considering we've had the conversation on multiple occasions, just the fact that, hey, what is next for Timmy C? Did he drop the ball? What's going on? We know the devices are absolutely monstrous, right? Like, it's the driver. The iPhone's the driver for Apple. He brought this company from a $350 billion valuation to $4 trillion. So, I mean, at the end of the day, he was behind the driver's seat for quite some time. Time for a change. You have the hyperscalers, everyone above and below them from a market cap standpoint, and I'm referring to the Mag 7, are going through this AI build-out, and we didn't necessarily see that from Apple. So I'm curious to see if that's going to be the direction that they're going to.
You know why I don't think it's not? Because they brought it, like, so if their whole thing has been, we're not going to spend on.
Yeah, I don't see them.
And it's like, we're just going to make the best device that everyone utilizes AI on, and everyone's going to download the apps or connect to AI using our devices. Well, they brought in a hardware guy. Internal hardware dude suggests to me that maybe this is like, it could just be doubling down on the strategy. And who knows, whatever. Like, he doesn't even take over until September. So ultimately, we're all going to find out. But that's the first thing it suggested to me, that this wasn't going to be a change from the current path that they're going. So we'll see. Like, you always want to, you never want to have like your initial like opinion or read on a situation in which you have no control, be married to it. But for now, the stock was upward trending. It doesn't seem like this creates a new path. I love the fact that it got bought back up, right? Like the algo's going to do what they're going to do, but ultimately, it still was, even when things settled down, slightly red. And I know it'll be a little bit red compared to the overall market, but that's not terribly bad. And maybe it needed to take a day off anyways, and maybe have some kind of another, I can't call yesterday a consolidative day, it was a pretty strong day, but maybe there'll be a consolidative type of day in here for Apple. The market looks, we just made another fresh high in the market. It looks like we're poised. I just feel like Amazon's probably the one that I think has a better chance to at least make a run at its high today. It'll be a little bit tight. You got a bit of a triple top up here, but that one's definitely gonna be on the radar. And I'm just not sure Apple will be the cleanest of trades. And because I mentioned it, oh shoot, there's the coffee.
Oh, snap.
Beyond Meat is ridiculous. Avis is ridiculous. And I know there's like this sentiment once you have these stocks squeezing, that you're like, okay, eventually there's gonna be a top. And when it comes back down, it's gonna be absolutely spectacular. My gut tells me that the end might come sooner for Beyond Meat than for Avis, because I don't know, like Avis has been going for a while. I don't think there's almost no chance that Beyond Meat, which looks like this, is gonna do anything like car. Because like Beyond Meat's like in this part of like a potential squeeze. I just don't think it has that in it. I do feel if I'm taking a shot on one of them today, like we did get to that 155, 160 area on Beyond Meat, and it's already starting to pull back, could lose VWAP. Like this would be the one I'm more likely to take a stab at on the short side of it, because it got to one resistance point, and if it breaks through this, then like all bets are off if it gets through like a 160. But as long as it's not through it, I think this is where a lot of selling is gonna initially try to come in. Yeah, they're not. I don't think you can compare them. And I saw an update on the short float from Carr in an article, up at 63% now. 63% the short float.
Oh.
Like it was, I believe it was, last we checked, it was in the low to mid 40s. And this is just insanity, complete insanity. But you can't really predict when it's going to unwind. It'll just start happening.
Yeah.
And I feel like the second day might not be as good as the first day.
Do you think?
But at least the second day, maybe you don't have to get as badly run over trying to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't want to stand in front of that train.
Honestly, I think it'll be clear when it starts. It's gonna rug, I think.
But you'll miss.
Do you think
the first $50 of the move will probably be almost impossible to capture without taking it against you?
Yeah,
is my
agree.
guess.
I mean, Kathy Wood here. We're just talking a little bit about Amazon. Kathy Wood buying 3,500 more shares there. I mean, she likes what they got going on. Amazon committing, obviously, with Anthropic, $100 billion with AWS over 10 years. Amazon increasing its Anthropic investment by $5 billion. Then with more along the way, as long as they hit certain milestones, so another additional $15 billion on top of that. Also, Kathy Wood buying 4,600 DoorDash shares as well, too. So, yeah, I think as with car, guys, we're going to talk about that momentarily via the options chain. We've been going on about it for quite some time. Intel with the upgrade this morning as well, too. Intel. So Intel up to 67.25. So that's looking good. A lot on the radar here today. And you know what I'm looking forward to today's session, considering Amazon going to be the first out of the Mag 7 to potentially hit the all-time high. I think that's a neck-and-neck race between them and NVDA, being, I think, around that 212 mark for NVDA, and only a couple percentage points off that all-time high for Amazon. So yeah, a lot going on. Looking forward to today's session. It's going to be a pretty hot one, I think. Intel, Amazon, Apple news. Yeah, so it's a party in the stock market.
Crypto, Bitcoin bounced clean off that 74,000 level, so that looks like it's pretty strong. And it's nothing to, and hey, you know what? You know what we didn't have this morning? There's no crazy headline that's really scaring us overseas, right?
Yeah.
The USO's flat. Oil futures are not really doing much. We're exactly where we are yesterday. Like, I'm going to have this up, and it's like, well, if you'll know if things are going south because we'll break through 123 on USO, you think? Like, all day long resistance yesterday, shouldn't say all, pre-market resistance on Friday, prior support, current highs. If we bust that out and start going, well, then you know something's going bad, and that could be weakness in the market. But as long as that roof holds, I feel pretty good about it.
I mentioned this before. I like the peace and quiet, right?
Well, speaking of, in 17 minutes, guess who's speaking to Joe Kernan today?
Who?
On CNBC.
Who?
The President of the United States.
Okay, all right, there we go.
So, well, I'm not going to automatically make the assumption that he's going to move the markets, but you never know. And there's a decent chance. But look, it actually might not be something that moves the markets, and we might not get some kind of a crazy. We already know that threats have been made to go. Yeah. Have been made.
They're ready.
So what else is going to be said? Yeah. But you never know. In about 17 minutes, we'll get that. AMD's popping up a little bit here without the market doing anything. Not sure why, but worth noting and keeping an eye on. When AMD was strong yesterday in the pre-market, it was a nasty reversal back through its what was a fresh all-time high, which it made yesterday, but it rejected that pretty heavily. So be careful about this one, because it didn't really have buyers above the 280 level. So I want to see this thing show buyers above 280 if you want to be bullish there. Yeah, lots to watch. I know Sharif's going to be excited for some Beyond Meat trading today. I have to assume, because if you're a small cap trader, that's on your mind for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so I was talking about a couple of the bigger names potentially hitting all-time high. It's a pretty close race here, Neil. We have Broadcom only a couple percentage points down, right? Like, so you got 3% there on Broadcom. It's
gonna be Amazon.
Amazon today, just due to the news, right? You're 1.5%. NVDA probably sitting in that show place, aka third, down 4.6%. So, I mean, Microsoft's nowhere even close. Tesla a little bit further away, and same with Meta. Broadcom, not too bad. We were just talking about that one. So it's going to be a fun one. We had the market hitting all-time highs, so I think it's only a matter of time until some of these larger boys start to hit them as well. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be good for the long-term accounts. You see a smile on people's face once again after all of the selling that we went, essentially hitting bear market territory. So it's good. And we had that conversation yesterday. Like, how do we classify something as back into a bull market? So,
well, there was an actual answer for that, which I hate.
Yeah. So
I think it's a terrible answer.
Here you go.
Bouncing anywhere from the bottoms 20% to end the bear market is nonsensical, because what if it's an absolute disaster? But anyways,
yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter. I like that. I'm going to get a poll up because I like that question you asked. But you know what, everybody? If you're an equity trader looking to scale in these markets, Prop Shop Trader is a multi-asset prop trading firm designed to remove the typical barriers that traders face. You can trade stocks without pattern day trading restrictions and no licensing requirements, while also accessing futures markets within the same environment. Prop Shop Trader offers both day trading and swing trading programs, giving traders the flexibility to manage multiple accounts and deploy different strategies. Why risk your own capital when you don't have to? Scan the QR code to unlock 60% off your first account, plus buy one, get one free. Get started today. Scan that QR code you see out in front of you. And as I said, because I liked it, although I put Mag 7, so I guess I can't include Broadcom, so who else are we putting in here? You know, I'll just go first Mega Tech here. I'm just gonna say Mega Tech, and then that way no one can at me. And then I can put Broadcom.
Yeah, all right.
And I'll go AVGO.
How about Google? Yeah.
Alphabet. Okay, let's go Google.
We have to go Google up there.
I don't think there's anybody else close enough to be worth it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So everyone in the chat, this is pretty simple. I'm going to get my Amazon vote in right now. So I've already typed one. I just did right there.
Yep,
Maybe I'll type it a few times. You can see me you can hear me and see me spamming the ones. All you got to do is type 1, 2, 3, or 4. First, mega tech name to reach all-time high. That's what ATH stands for, if you didn't know. 1 for Amazon, 2 for NVIDIA, 3 for Broadcom. I feel like that's going to lose. And 4 for Alphabet. Yeah, I think Broadcom has... It's just not a popular enough stock. Great company. It's just not a popular enough stock. It's gonna get. You need some sympathy votes. For Broadcom. Just make sure it stays in the double digits, everybody, because I feel like
Broadcom's like that superstar, that quiet superstar. You know what I mean? It's just like something.
We just got ADP, which is not really moving the markets. ADP employment change 54.76 versus 39. You can see the Qs. We're already heading slightly lower on that with that AMD going to the upside. But we'll check back on it. I do suspect, Amazon #1 and Alphabet #2 by a wide margin. 44 and 29, 1 and 2. Broadcom is 6% of the vote.
Yeah, but Broadcom's the Kawhi Leonard of, right? He's just the prime time
Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Of the market.
Yeah.
That's interesting. If you're going to give all the stocks different players,
superstar status.
Current players.
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
That's pretty fair.
That's pretty good.
Like, he's way better than people realize.
Right, exactly, and he's quiet.
Should be in the discussion as the best player in the league. He's not. He isn't, but he is in that.
When he was in his prime, right?
So who's LeBron then?
Well, I mean, he's getting older, so maybe Google.
No.
Well, come on, man.
Google's not. That would be like call him Microsoft if it's the old guy.
Yeah. But I don't know.
But it's not the GOAT.
Has it, but it's like Microsoft's fallen off a cliff.
So maybe Apple.
Apple is fair. So I think Microsoft is more or less Kevin Durant, because you know what I mean? Yep. I think that's fair.
Then NVIDIA could be like what? Like Jokic or Ant or SGA?
SGA.
You know what? It doesn't matter. Like those Timberwolves. By the way, no one told me I'm supposed to wear a white or tan shirt again today, so you're going to see me in the blue. The boys are matching up at the desk, which we're going back to right now, in the all-white as they are chatting away. Gentlemen, why didn't you guys tell me that I'm supposed to wear a white shirt today?
There's no rules. It's all good. A couple things. CrowdStrike to the upside here this morning. Just reading this very positive note. Upgrade for CRWD after a pretty good day yesterday. Actually came out late yesterday, but I mean, hold on. If you zoom out on any of these at this point, Crowd just being one of them, I mean, we're right here. Like, this is the, if this thing's going to break out level, it's going to be, you know, in the next coming days here. But I mean, I thought software was dead.
Yeah, honestly, and you know what? They're still well off their highs, whether you're looking at Zscaler, Pandub, FTNT, crowd. But hey, it's better than the levels that they were at a few days ago, or a week ago, I should say. KeyBank today, Eric Heath, that's the analyst there, upgrading crowd from a sector weight to an overweight and a $525 price target. I think that would be all-time highs for the name. I'd have to double check, but that's a good call there. Look, I mean, the Claude, let's just be honest about it. The Anthropic angle to this could be a longer-term picture. I mean, a lot of these different models are showing that they have the ability to be able to find security vulnerabilities. One has to assume that this Mythos thing, if you believe the truth that it is able to identify previously unfound security vulnerabilities, and that gives them a competitive edge in developing their own security software. If you know where the weaknesses are, you design around it. Yeah. So Anthropic, I think, could be very disruptive. And some of these other LLMs, if they are able to catch up, that's in the intermediate to long term. I think in the short term, you're not going to drop your IT security budget at a company, at a Fortune 500 company. That'd be crazy.
Of course.
And so they continue to generate revenue, but for how long?
566, I see, all-time highs.
566?
So not quite, but I mean, close enough. Yeah, I mean, 450, it looks like definitely the clear breakout level here for crowd on a daily chart anyways. But to that point, I was actually reading an interesting article on the weekend about, I think it was MIT or Harvard or something, one of the big schools. They created, I think it was 3 different LLMs, sent them to a focus group or a study group essentially, and didn't tell them what they were for, didn't tell them anything about them essentially. And their only goal was to manipulate these people and get personal information from them. And the success rate from all 3 was in like the high 90%. Really? That they were able to actually obtain what they wanted to. So it just goes to show.
I do that too. Like, you have to give personal information to get a good result out of the LLM, because the more nuanced the input, the more detailed the answer. So it's like kind of a catch-22. You can sure dance around it. Hey, my friend Brendo would like to know this. You know what I mean? Yeah. What are you supposed to do in those cases?
Yeah. But I mean, if the case is for this Mythos thing, you know, it specifically has the ability to go. I 100% agree, like, or believe that it's possible anyways. But anyways, let's see. Some of the cybersecurity names doing a little bit better these days, Neil.
I tend to agree. I think ultimately, I feel as if there was a lot of like panic that went into some of the downward moves. I know that it's not like the charts really reflect that panic, like whether you're looking at crowd here or like Palo Alto, but it still felt that way. Like you were just any single headline, and it was just nobody wanted to make a bid, and there was no real analysis of the situation and what it might mean. And I think it's a very big unknown. Now, if you're a show holder of the big 2, then you're trusting that the winners are going to come from those who adapt the best and utilize these tools so they can stay ahead of the game. And I think, you know, betting on who is already the best seems to me the right way to go here in some of that uncertainty, because there is going to be disruption. And you look at both these are identical charts, and they almost look like, in the last couple of weeks, and they almost look like these little heartbeat actions where, until you can prove to me that you're breaking through where people seem to be taking profits in PanW, that's like a 175, and then same thing with crowd at about the 440 to 450. It's just, it's catching a bit every single time, but we're not participating yet in the market breakout. And fair enough, you know, this is the beat up names have to do a little bit of work and a little bit to catch up. But I'll feel much better when this can claw back above that 200 period moving average. Much more of that's a bigger confirmation for me than the fact that it's made a bottom. And you still have to get through earnings season as well. One thing that we have to get to every day is an important options lesson from Joe.
All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the activity in the world of derivatives. Now, we're going to kick things off with Apple. Some shuffling going on in the front office there. We're going to kick it off with the $280 strike price. I mean, we weren't really overreactive yesterday when the news was released. And you're not going to see any form of dramatic change within the options contracting. What we did see was initial sell-off and then eventually a rebound and just moving sideways here. But what we are going to do, guys, $280 is going to be our mark. And we're going to keep an eye on the open interest around 27,200. That is going to be the most on this expiration cycle, Friday's expiration cycle to be exact. Now, as for volume, 33,300 contracts opened and closed on yesterday's session. Now, considering slightly out of the money, we can look at our delta metric here sitting on 14. So, I mean, for every $1 change in the underlying, there's not going to be a dramatic change within the options contracting. Gamma exposure relatively light, but a slight uptick in the implied volatility. We were looking at the overall market around 9% yesterday, and then it increased to almost double, 20% or so, 26.8% right there. But one thing I want us to focus on right now is essentially the actual contract of this 280 call. What we have is something valued around about $3.25, loses the majority of its value, but then gets somewhat of a rebound. It dropped to approximately 25 cents there as well, too. Now printing and closing around 82 cents. You can see right here on the ask. Now moving forward, the ever so popular name, CAR, Avis Budget Group. We're going to get into a couple of things with this name. Now, let's be cautious about when we are trading this. There's very little open interest. There's very little volume. You can run into liquidity issues, but what we are going to do is look at this put, the $600 put to be exact, because this is the most amount of open interest and volume combined that I found out through multiple expiration cycles and strike prices. We were talking yesterday the fact that there's literally one contract open on a specific strike price, and the rest it was like a handful or double digits, nothing substantial like we see in some of the more liquid names. But what we are going to focus on is the expiration cycle. It's going to be this Friday, but this is no joke here, guys. $6,700 on the ask, and you're looking at $200 spreads here from the bid and the ask if you are going to be an options writer. Once again, you have to be cautious of liquidity, because if you're looking to get out of the contract and you can't, there's going to be some form of liquidity issue there. Now, as for your delta sitting at that $42 metric, gamma exposure relatively light, but one thing that we are highly going to focus on is essentially the at-the-money implied volatility sitting around 274%. That is substantial. You're going to be paying an extended premium just due to the fact of implied volatility and the run that this name has been on. One thing that we are going to focus on is the contract itself. So this is a put contract, the 600 put. It has lost 76% of its value in the span of a couple of weeks. So be cautious, obviously, due to the run. But this underlying and this specific contract would be down substantially more if it wasn't for the drastic increase in implied volatility. So you're getting a little bit pricing into there. Now, if by any chance you were thinking of playing this via options, here's something that we can look into, all right? This is going to be a strategy, all right? So what we typically go over here, guys, and we'll run through it, substantial amount of premium it's going to cost you. Now, as for this, even though it's green, we want to focus on our delta because it's negative, right? So we're going to be talking about 2 put contracts here if you are looking to see this stock start to capitulate or sell off. Now, this contract specifically is worth $11,800. Who's going to be buying that? Not very many people, all right? So essentially what we can do at the end of the day is reduce our cost by selling a put at a lower strike price for $85. That's going to cut it down substantially to around $3,500 roughly. But what we are looking at is this $550 strike price and this $500 strike price. So essentially what we have here is we're going to buy this put at $550, and then we are going to sell this put for protection and to reduce our costs, creating a bear put spread. Now, moving forward, you can see our delta metrics. That's going to be expiring on May 15th. But let's take a look at our probability of profit in some more detail. Now, we were talking about this being about $3,500, $3,350 to be exact, but our probability of profit sitting around 39%. So you're sitting at a half risk to reward. Well, we've been climbing higher, so the options market's smart. They're not going to price in anything along those lines where you're going to see that 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. But if you're asking, Joe, how do we collect the full amount of premium? Well, essentially what we need is it to drop to $496. That's where you collect the most amount of premium, $1,650. So if you are looking to purchase a bull put, a bear put spread, I think the best way to go is to buy that protection, reduce your overall cost, and sure enough, if the trade starts to work and you really see that momentum to the downside pick up, you can always buy back your short put and just allow that long put to free roam, and then you'll be able to capture some more gains there, guys.
Great one, Joe, and a lot of chatter and quality chatter in the chat, and I saw there were a few questions in there in the chat as well, and just don't hesitate to ask in the chat if you need clarification on something. We have a great community. I was answering Tick R, and Joe will be able to answer your questions as well if you have any. We do have a super chat though, and I feel like I think I know where this came from. It's for Sharif, but Adam from Adam James Abroad, appreciate it. Mikel Arteta is Duolingo. So Sharif, we were comparing basketball players to stocks, but that is cold-blooded, brother.
Neil, I just want to remind Adam. I want to remind him that we're 3 whole points ahead of his team, and he better not forget that. So yeah, you guys may have won on the weekend, but you're still 3 points behind, baby.
Well, Duolingo is maybe it's a compliment, Sharif. Why do you have to make the assumption that it's not? Oh, that's a bad look. Duolingo is a really bad looking chart. But I don't think anyone is interested in Duolingo. Maybe you are. If you are, apologies when I say that no one's interested in Duolingo today, but just for you-know-whats and giggles, that's why we pulled it up. Let's go back to this. I believe we just had some economic data there, Brendo.
Retail sales coming through here. March retail sales month over month, big uptick, 1.7% versus a 0.4% increase expected. I thought everything was bad right now, but people spending some money, definitely. Retail sales, if you take out autos for March, month over month, 1.9% versus 0.3%. Overall, the headline number, 4% versus 2.4%.
Wow.
On the year-over-year basis for March. But I mean, I thought everything was expensive and bad, and people are buying stuff, man.
I tell you, man. I mean, we always hear, like Joseph and I were talking about credit card delinquencies and 30-day late payments for cars. They're increasing, but you know, it's hard to gauge whether this is more credit spending or this is genuine buying power that, you know, you're not dipping into the credit markets, right? Because we're seeing credit card rates or credit card debt basically at all-time highs. And I always think that that's a bit of not a misnomer, but a bit of a, you know, not telling the full picture. And the reason is because, well, credit card debt, sure, it can be at all-time highs, but the economy is substantially larger than it was last year. And so it stands to reason that that grows with it.
We were talking about Amazon there a little bit earlier. I'm dying to hear their report and see. I mean, still, when is this? Wednesday the 29th. So is that next week? Yeah, that's next week for Amazon. I mean, still to this day in my building, every single day without fail, every other door, there's an Amazon package. Man.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I'm really liking the fact that they have a lot more products that are available next day and now same day delivery. Yeah. It's like they're expanding the product list that they're giving you that too. So I like that part of it. They're offering discounts as well within the app. So certain promotions that are being offered by the not just the seller itself, third-party seller, but actually the company, they'll offer that to you directly within the app. So you just like hit check mark on the coupon, you get $15 off or whatever it is. So I like where they're going with this. It'd be nice to get some drone delivery though, Brendan.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. I have faith. It's funny though. I was watching a video on I think it was yesterday of I can't remember, it was Korea or somewhere, South Korea or something. There was 2 of those like robot delivery box things on wheels, and they got to a sidewalk and they couldn't get up onto the curb, and they were just running into each other. And 2 people had to actually come over and help, like lift them up onto the sidewalk. And then they just kept going.
Did you
no
see
thank you, no nothing. Like
yeah, well, you know, the robots need to be a little bit more polite. No, but seriously, did you see the one in LA where this one is on the sidewalk, and I guess it didn't see the bus stop which was pure glass on one side, right into it, shattered the glass.
Come on, man.
Caught by security camera, so it was a little bit funny there. They'll get better at that, though. We'll see.
Maybe everyone just taking their BlackBerry and Carvana money and going shopping a little bit. I mean, have you looked at this? These cards, like BlackBerry, are we doing this again?
Well, we were trading that yesterday. I mean, it was a good continuation. Even when it pulled back into VWAP, it didn't lose VWAP. So there was certainly a buyer there. Something's going on with this platform. Whether
I mean, you just have to say NVIDIA and you know,
exactly.
4 or 5. What is it? 5 days in a row. Straight to the upside.
Ask Allbirds.
BlackBerry's back.
Days are back is what's happening. Like, it's just, I feel like when you get something like Avis, you just start to see, like, okay, well, where else is there a bunch of short float and a stock that can go? And then it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But whatever was leading the way, you have to watch out. Because if CAR capitulates, it has nothing to do with each other. But if Avis capitulates, you might see, like, Beyond Meat or BlackBerry capitulate as well. Right now, you've got the president on the on CNBC with Joe Kernan, and there's been a few headlines that have come in. That comes up every single time I post a headline. We're in a strong negotiating position. He said we'll end up with a great deal. So there hasn't been anything, I think, too crazy yet that's come out of it. The first initial reaction, at least looking at what's going on with USO in the markets, was like a slight tick up in the markets and a very, very slight tick down, maybe 40, 50 cents here in USO. So you're seeing oil futures coming down a little bit here, but nothing, nothing's gone too crazy. And of course, we'll keep our ear to the ground. We'll be listening in on it for sure, and we're paying attention. But nothing incredibly crazy has come out of it. I actually paid for locates on Beyond Meat, by the way. It's now holding underneath VWAP. I find anytime a small capper is sort of made the high in the pre-market and now it's got a couple lower highs, if it can't start putting in some lower highs, it could end up in one of these VWAP, under VWAP retracement type of trades. And the president does not want to expand the ceasefire, was just said. Well, I mean, yeah, well, what are you gonna say? Yeah. You want to pressure them while there's a deadline. So I suppose that's what you'd say. We have another super chat. This one fake Rob. How about that? Throw it up here because I don't think Rob Demchak. And a lot of times we'll get super chats and we'll get messages and it's like, oh, I recognize that for like every single day, and we appreciate all of them. But Rob, I don't think I've seen a super chat from you. So when I answer your question, can you please explain more about CAR? How to do 2 outfits control 100%. Oh, 2 outfits control 108% of the shares. My first short squeeze here, insane and getting expensive. So the first thing to understand is, of course, there should only ever be, like, there's the amount of shares in float, and that's all the shares that should be traded. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. As long as I've been in trading, there have been firms and traders that get away with naked short selling. Like, everything is digital, so like, right? Like, you're just sending messages out there. So there ends up being a lot of naked short selling. I'm not here to tell you how much of whether 100% is legit. That's good news for Webull. That could be good for Webull. How much of that is legitimate? So I'm not going to confirm or deny that number. But believe me, there can be ridiculous amounts short, more than there should be. And especially in a situation like this where it gets out of hand. Whether you can confirm that number or not, it is just, but this is a pure short squeeze. And there's no formula as to this is how many days it goes, or this is the point at which it's too much in terms of the percent short. It just doesn't work that way. You don't know when it's gonna end. You just know that every single day it's complete nonsense. That's a great story for Webull here. You like that buyback for sure, and this is already going a bit. And then consider the fact that they had the news with the PDT rule, right? So that was giving them a bounce, and that was giving Robinhood a bounce, structural bounce. You're holding the 50-period moving average. This one's on the turn. Then throw in the fact that they're probably decently shorted as well. So to the extent that we're just getting squeeze plays, I'm just going to double check what the float is here. Actually, you know what? It's not even that good. No, never mind. It doesn't even have that much of a short float. It's okay for. Yeah, it's not. I don't think that's a factor. But when you have this kind of momentum going, to the upside where you have some beaten up names which are floating, that's a pretty good catalyst for Webull. I just would love to see it above 8. Like the last floor that it tried to hold was the $8 level, and it's not really busted through that. So that feels like it could be a bit of a resistance spot for Webull. But I like the buyback for sure. Like when a stock is getting badly beaten up like this, and there aren't buybacks, you want to see more of that.
Wasn't that the case in GameStop? Essentially, you had just more shares issued short than what there was actually in the outstanding float, and then sure enough, that's when you just go on this absolute meme craze, right? Like, I mean,
with the movement behind GameStop was entirely unique.
Yeah.
Like the way that started on Reddit and galvanized the community, and then also discussing like if there's any kind of a reasonable turnaround and you get stock price, if the stock price hits here, then they're screwed. And it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I haven't seen any of that for Avis. If that's happening for Avis, then I'm completely unaware of it, and we haven't seen any of it. There's social media chatter and this and that going on,
exactly.
but it's not the same thing. Like that was a very unique, unprecedented event that we saw with GameStop. And I don't think it would happen like, it's not going to repeat like that ever again, I don't think.
No, well, think about it. The hedge funds won't allow that to happen ever again, right? Like, because they literally had to change the rules.
Yeah, they're not that stupid.
Yeah, exactly, because of what happened with that meme craze. All right, we've been talking about Webull, $100 million buyback, fantastic stuff. Rebound in Robinhood, obviously, due to the PDT rule, can add this essentially turbo wave of retail traders coming into the market. Well, no one's really talking about the Kawhi Leonard of brokerages right now, the quiet one. Okay, so we're going to use this.
Everybody can't be Kawhi Leonard.
Not everybody can be Kawhi Leonard, is correct. But essentially what we have here is Interactive Brokers, IBKR.
Nice.
Up 115% from this time last year. You didn't see that turbocharge essentially from the PDT rule stepping into this name. But if we were talking about Robinhood still being down 35% off of its highs, Webull just getting absolutely destroyed ever since the IPO, and it has yet to fully recover. Yet we have IBKR over here, a name that's very quiet, 115% from this time last year, and continuing to climb and not too far off of all-time highs. So if you want to talk about stability in that space, I think this is where you're going to start off and kind of drop some of that volatility. It's been on a fantastic run, and I think it's going to maintain that and continue growth year over year, increase in options activity, assets under management continue to grow, accounts continue to grow as well too, and transaction fees. Everything across the board is just screaming, hey, look at me over here. We're a solid company, and we're going to continue to remain one. I like IBKR, and I think this is a solid dividend, offers a dividend as well. So we like what IBKR has to offer. Let's send things back to the desk, see what we got going on here with the boys.
All right, we touched on this a little bit yesterday, and I mean, the group has been in focus since last week in this bill signing. If you missed it, President Trump signing a bill last week that will fast track some certain psychedelic treatments for PTSD and other cases. I immediately, when I read this, reached out to our friend Todd Shapiro over at Red Light Holland, CEO of Red Light Holland, and said, Todd, this has to be a big deal. Please come and tell us why. If anybody's wondering, just first off, TRIP, the symbol here in Toronto, TRUF, TRUF, down on the OTC. It's good to see you, first of all.
Yeah, thank you again for having me. It's so great because 2 years ago, on November 11th, Remembrance Day here in Canada in 2024, you and I spoke, and we've spoken numerous times. I'm always so grateful to come on the show. But I specifically said in that interview, Brendan, that we will see down the road RFK Jr., Joe Rogan, and Donald Trump talking about how do we advance psychedelics for veterans. And here we are today doing it. And it's a glorious day. It's been a glorious week because most importantly, us as a company, but I'm sure you listening out there, we want to help veterans and we want to help people with trauma, and we're going to have some expedited ways to do that now.
Yeah, let's talk about this from a granular perspective here. I mean, give people, if they're saying, okay, fine, I get it, you know, we can develop these treatments based off these plants and based off these products. What does it mean on a company level specifically for this group entirely if we're going to be able to see not only the research be fast-tracked, but going to market even sooner?
Yeah, well, Red Light Holland yesterday on the CSE, we had the most amount of shares traded. We were number one in terms of actual amount of shares. So we were close to 7 million shares traded. TRUF actually on the OTC picked up, and we got a lot of great volume on the TRUF side, which isn't always the case on the OTC. So first off, as a company, it gets a lot of attention back on us. And when people start to digest and see what we're doing, they're going, wow, look at this company. They went public 6 years ago. They preserved capital like no other small cap company has in the space. There's a couple of big boys who have much bigger capital, and we're happy for them. They look at our company now in a definitive agreement with a company called Filament Health out of Vancouver in Canada, who's got a Level 8 Health Canada's dealer's license. It's got a botanical drug candidate based off of psilocybin called PEX10, and PEX10 is in over 70 different clinical studies, and we've just announced some updated studies. They're in like University of Washington, and we got great results in a study there. They're in, like John Hopkins, Harvard, Imperial College. So this is a drug that's already being studied. And when we look to what happened with the Donald Trump announcement the other day, which directs the FDA to accelerate psychedelic drug approvals, this is exactly what we're currently doing. We have FDA approvals for our drugs to be in current studies already, and we only expect that to expand. Again, this prioritizes treatment, if I can speak today, for PTSD, addiction, and depression. And we want to help. We are a company from day one, Brendan. You know me very well. I believe in growing a company. I obviously need to increase shareholder value. That's the number one goal. We were up 1 point, almost 70% yesterday. It evened out a little bit towards the end there, but we are looking at like some very good opportunity here. But I think most importantly, I think of impact investing. I think of people who want to help someone that they know, and companies like ours are absolutely making sure that standardized psychedelics are going to be the path of the future.
What does this do for the marketplace specifically? What doors open? What timeline specifically can we look to for those doors and new markets opening?
Well, the $50 million that the executive order has talked about, which is allocating towards speeding this up, is really what's great. It expands those access again. For us, we are looking at it in many different ways. There are states that are opening up, like Oregon's written rules around microdosing and around facilitator-based macrodosing of psilocybin. By the way, we pitched to the Oregon Senate with our data that we have from the Netherlands, and that goes deeper into what our company also does, where we can sell recreationally. But we have to figure this out state by state. But what we love about this is, you listen, love or hate the guy, and I know it's so polarizing for people, but when Trump says something about expediting psychedelics for veterans, it now becomes a bipartisan issue. No one's going to deny that. No one's going to argue that. So hopefully more studies come across the table. We fast track these drugs, and we fast track the standardized way to help people with different types of trauma across the board. So Brendan, to answer your question, we don't have a specific timeline, but we know it will be done quicker now, which is amazing.
If we had to maybe point to one area or progress that's being made, is anything standing out, right off the bat here that says to you, this is already being pursued, this is already happening, and the balls are rolling?
Well, listen, the filament drug that we work with, PEX10, and again, we're under a definitive agreement expected to close very soon, by the way. That drug, Tuss, is probably the first or second most highly distributed botanical drug candidate on the entire world, with all the universities it's in and with all the different studies it's in, and some compassionate use where people who are suffering from severe trauma or sadly terminal illness and are coming to copes and terms with their death, their pending death, which is terrible, are trying to do it in a lighter way, in the acceptance sort of how it's going to happen, and of course trying to relive their beautiful life that they already have had. So we think we're one of the premier companies to really dig into and go and do all your due diligence on us. But this is important. You'll hear about ibogaine. That was mentioned at that conference on the weekend. Rogan talked about ibogaine, and of course, there's a lot of great advocates out of Texas for ibogaine. Again, it's another psychedelic compound. Our company that we're in a definitive with, Filament Health, they have a ibogaine product that's actually been studied by 200 people with good efficacy. So that's something that we're allowed to delve into. So psilocybin, ibogaine, MDMA, These are the types of psychedelics that you're going to start to hear a lot more of, and not just for party drugs people. I know it's always funny for people to hear these things and then recognize that the science now is truly backing that it does help with trauma, does help with wean people off of opioids or get people off of nicotine, or help people even with cannabis habits wildly, with gambling addictions. So these are all the things that we're learning, and most importantly, we want to save lives. We've talked about this, but the veteran suicide death rate is just tremendously sad in America. It's anywhere between 15 and 22 people a day, 22 veterans a day taking their lives. So this immediately needs to be stopped, and this executive order will help advance that and truly, we believe, make a very positive impact to saving lives. And I mean, I always get emotional when I think about this, because these are people fighting for our rights and freedoms. So the fact that we can try to get to them sooner means the most, the best we could ask for. And then ultimately, this will trickle down to helping human beings everywhere.
Yeah, well said. I mean, a good point to leave it. I think I'm going to go grab that clip, first of all, of us talking about that later this morning, and I'll put that together and I'll send it to you. But I appreciate the insight. Todd Shapiro, CEO over at Red Light Holland. TRIP here in Toronto, guys. TRUF, TRUF down on the OTC. Two Fs. TRUFF. My apologies, down on the OTC. Appreciate your time as always. Thanks, Todd.
Man, it's so great to see you. I really appreciate being on, and say hi to the rest of the crew. I always say this. I love you guys. Like I'm such a financial market, just a guy. I get excited, and you guys make it fun. It's like watching NFL football with the fun guys in the morning.
Okay. All right, I'll send you the Starbucks later too. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, one day when it's legal, we'll take some microdosing pills together. Okay.
Thanks, Todd.
Cheers, guys.
It's always great having Todd on, a fantastic individual. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to start things off with some downgrades. And ExxonMobil here, we are down about 0.4%. Getting the downgrade here, guys, by Wolf Research, going from outperform to peer perform. Then we have Graphic Packaging also on the downgrade side of things, guys, down 1% here. Market perform to underperform by Raymond James. And then we also have Sela Realty Trust relatively flat, but with a price target of $31 from outperform to a neutral weight here, guys. And Valero down just a little bit less than 1%, price target of $203 and an underperform rating by Wolf Research. Now moving forward, let's take a look at some of the upgrades here. Intel going to be at the top of the list, guys. You're up almost about 2% here this morning. Going from a hold to a buy with a $95 price target by HSBC, INTC there, guys. Now, also a buy rating here on AAPL, Citigroup giving Apple the nod this morning. You're slightly negative here today. But now Dell also with the buy rating up 1 1/5, Citigroup giving them the nod. And then CrowdStrike, we were talking about this name not too long ago, positive 2%, $525 price target with sector perform. Upgrade to overweight by Key Bank. Guys, let's send it back to Neil.
BNP needs to get their head checked on that Sela SILA. I'll get to Intel in a second, but I have to say this. Like, how are you gonna give a price target of $31 when they're literally being bought for $30.38 cash? It doesn't make sense. If you're adjusting your price target on a stock because there's an all-cash acquisition, just adjust it to that price, or adjust it lower if you think the deal won't go through. But having it above the deal price, to me, suggests you think somehow there's going to be a bidding war, and I think Owl's going to get that one done. But what do I know? Intel is on the upgrade list. We like Intel. Like the last couple of days, I get it. I was more on the short side thinking of Intel yesterday, but now you've had 2 days backing off that $70 level. You got little bit of strength came back in. I feel like it did a little bit of a breath. We've seen it before on the big down days on this. I hate to call this a meme stock, but like, come on, man. Intel's been an absolute rocket. They report in 2 days. I'll get that out of the way. And that'll be pretty important. I think they could be in some trouble. It's the way it's priced right now. It's expensive. It's on a huge run going into earnings. A lot at stake. I think they might dip on earnings, but at least for now, you got that 2-day pullback. Was able to hold on to $65 pretty clean, and then we're back above some resistance. I'm looking dip and rip on this sucker. And what's interesting about Intel is the pattern that it's had. The opening, like every time at 9:30, it's like there's a I'll zoom in so you can see better. Topping tail candle, go down. Bottoming tail candle, go up. Bottoming tail candle, go up. This is the only, if you go here, really tricky one. Sometimes there's no bottom, it just crushes right through. But if the first 15-minute candle is a clear topping or bottoming tail candle, you just go with the direction. If it's a topping tail, go short. If it's a bottoming tail on the 15, go long. And that might mean waiting for a bit, or we're just like chop trading until for the first 15 minutes. But once I see that first candle set, I'm looking for that 9:45 to 10 o'clock entry point in Intel. And there's only once really in the last week has that done you wrong. Like, it was unclear here which direction you would have wanted to go, because it kind of wicked in both directions. But wick down, look for the continuation, wick and go up. Wick down, look for the continuation, and you can still grab it. The short was still good in there. We got a couple of super chats. Let's throw them up there, Andre. Son of Daniel Gouda Guru.
Ooh.
Morning, tilapia lovers.
Okay.
So Dow Jones Trucking Index is up as a result of car. Yeah, that's insane. My understanding, I'm 94.7% sure that the crazy thing about the Dow Jones Trucking is it might be price weighted, which would make this even more stupid. Is there a way to short that index? Because my brokerage says no. Yeah, but if you're... See, the weird thing about that is if this is up just because of car, then really you're just looking for car, like Avis, to come back down anyways.
Isn't DJT...
Yeah, and of course I just typed in DJT as if it's going to be Dow Jones Trucking. It's going to be Trump Media. Can I even call that up? I probably don't even have access to it. No, I think the problem with that logic is everyone's looking for a way to short car when it eventually comes back in. Like, oh, so you look at the index, and I don't remember the exact weighting, but I'm pretty sure that one's price weighted, which is why car's having an outsized effect in it. Price weighted indices are stupid in my opinion. They don't make any logical sense to me, but it doesn't really matter they exist. So if you're looking for car to come down and making a bet on that, your highest return is going to be if car comes down. Like, that index is not going to do what you want if this squeeze continues, unless they boot it out. So all roads lead to, you know what you're trying to accomplish, and everyone's looking for a safe way to do it. There is no quote-unquote safe way to short a short squeeze. Like, if you're doing it, you have to buck up, and Joe was talking about a much relatively safer way, I suppose.
The safe, it's definitely the safest way.
Relatively safe. Yeah. Because you limit your losses.
Exactly. You can only lose so much on that one. But still, if you
want to short an equity involved in this,
dude, some of these premiums were $11,000. Like, who's paying that for an options contract? That's absolutely insane. It's some of the highest, and $1,000 spread. I've never seen $1,000 spread before in my life in the options contract.
We did have a second one, so let's see if we can get to that one. And now we have a third as well.
We got a third.
SP Williams in the chat. Beyond, car, BlackBerry, percentage-wise, who pushes up the highest from here? You have to pick one for fun. Okay. Yeah, you know what?
No, but see here, Neil, I think the issue with this one is because, think about it, so for car to gain in percentage, it's a significantly larger price name, right?
Pick Beyond Meat.
You have to, right? From a percentage standpoint, because for car, you just need it to move more to gain that, obviously, that larger percentage.
Like, I don't believe Beyond Meat or BlackBerry should survive as long, but just kind of where the moves are already at. Like, Beyond Meat's at $1.50. Like, that could double. It's a squeeze. Like, the last time it ran to like $8. It's like, and then the time after that, it ran at $2.30. That's another 80. What? Actually, that's not true. That's more like 63%. I almost said 80. Yeah, so I mean, you'd almost have to, just based on that, vote for the others. But I'm not completely convinced that those aren't done sooner. Thoughts on Bull from Shane B. Smokin'? I like the $100 buyback, $100 million buyback. I think that's good news. You were already in the run. We're talking about the PDT rule and the benefit they got from that holding that 50 period. I'm not back into it. I already made I bought Robinhood on the dip. Yeah. And had I not bought Robinhood, maybe I would consider, maybe I would have considered this when it broke the 50 period. But, you know, I just, again, my preference was to Robinhood there. But I do think there's room to this. The $8 level right in here. I always look at that prior, if it holds a big level multiple times, And then the trend down was pretty clean from that 8. I think that's a bit of a wall today, but still
DJ Vinny, oh,
and then we get another one. This is from TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok.
From DJ Vinny. You're talking about BlackBerry. I know we'll get to the market, but at this point, everyone's talking about squeezes. I just don't believe in the later attach yourselves to a squeeze rally type of name. And I get it. BlackBerry had the NVIDIA story, but I'm like, the stock, should it have done this? 310 to 570. During the meme craze, BlackBerry was one of the best stocks, this and costs. Like costs, sometimes more on the way up, but I'm telling you, when BlackBerry would run with the meme stocks, and I'd just sit there watching GameStop. And if GameStop caught a little bit of weakness, you just punch short BlackBerry. And then just watch. And the GameStop would have like a minor pullback or correction, and BlackBerry would just crater into VWAP. And it's like, okay, well, that's pretty easy. And so, you could, even on the show sometime, when GameStop would come back and BlackBerry would be up on sympathy, I would just sit there and wait for the opportunity to short BlackBerry, take one trade, risk like 2 cents, and then short it to VWAP. And work like gangbusters. I don't know that the same thing's going to be true with BlackBerry and Car, but if this is just some kind of meme craze, I would not want to get trapped at the top of these things.
Let's see. So, you know what? This is kind of what I was looking for here in Car, right? So this is one of the only sessions where you're actually gapping up once again. Like, so I mean, like, think about it. You're opening, you don't gap up. Like, where you open, essentially. So I think at some point, and this is an absolutely massive candle. Like at the end, like, so on the latter half of this run, look at the span of this. Brother, it went $117 on yesterday's session from open to close. That's absolutely insane. Am I going to say this is the peak? No, but I'm going to be keeping an eye on this thing just potentially to see if we're going to start to turn around. And I would not be surprised if it just goes from 650, which is at in the pre-market, and in the span of a couple of sessions, it's back down to $400 and $350. This thing has been on a substantial run. I mean, how many green days in a row is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 green sessions in a row? And just absolutely squeeze city? I don't know, man. At some point, this thing is going to come back. What goes up must come down. But we always say, you don't want to be the first one to stand in front of the freight train. You want to allow it to slowly start to, and you're going to notice it. I think it's going to be one of those scenarios where it's like, oh, snap, it drops. Literally, like you said yesterday, you're going to miss the first $50, but within that intraday session, it's going to drop 15 to 20%.
It's going to put you to the test, because if you see the point where you probably should punch into the short, like you're gonna look at where like your regular outs would be on a short, like prior bar high or like whatever it might be, and you're gonna be like, that is not an appetizing trade, yet it's probably gonna be the best one. And that's the tricky thing about those squeezes. It's 9 o'clock, actually it's past 9 o'clock. We're gonna get into our free FREE watch list and what you need to know going into the open. Pretty flat somewhat. We've had a bit of a pullback in the queue since we got some of the economic data, and of course with the president talking on CNBC. Hasn't really shocked the markets yet, so we're still slightly up.
All right, guys, 708 2/3 is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. We're up 0.25% right now versus yesterday's close. So we're going to say 708 1/3. That's going to be our first area of support if we start selling off. If we really start selling off more aggressively, we're looking at that 705-ish area as support level 2. Bounced off there multiple times. Above where we're trading right now, I don't want to say it's a blue sky setup because obviously we were higher yesterday, but that 711, 712 is all-time high. So we're going to say that's our first level of resistance. If we start trending up more, Brendo, perhaps on some good geopolitical news, 715 is R2.
All right, if you haven't done so yet, down below in the description, second link will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list, as always. Has everything you need to know in the pre-market every single day. It comes right to your inbox. You just need, again, your email address. Top of that this morning, rightfully so, Apple. John Turnus, get used to that name because you're going to be hearing it a heck of a lot more, not only in the coming days, but coming years as well. Timmy Cook going to be putting his feet up, deservedly so. This headline kind of tells the story here. Apple at 80 trillion. That's the shadow that this new CEO is stepping into. That's essentially comparing the market cap move Tim Cook added to the stock that when he took over to where it is now versus where this guy's stepping into to where he would have to get it to.
Those are
80
big
trillion company. This is a hardware guy, as we said, if you joined us in the first 30 minutes. has run hardware at Apple for, I mean, what was it, 20 plus years? I was reading last night, the second time, Tim Cook took over, I think he was like 52,
11, yeah.
51, 52 years old.
Yeah.
Same exact situation once again. Again, another guy that's been there forever and done great things for them. So
Yeah.
let's see.
Been at the company for 21 years, or sorry, since 2001, I'll get it right. Look, he's had his hand in every Apple cookie jar. iPhone, Mac, Apple Watch, AirPods, iPad. He has his hand in everything. So it's good. He'll understand the products. He's also a product guy. But let's be honest about it. He's entering a very critical moment here for Apple. Supply chain constraints with RAM and the geopolitical situation of nearshoring and onshoring. That's where Tim Cook shined. Can this guy do it? Is he a logistics master like Tim Cook is? That's an unanswered question and a key headline risk. What I do like, though, is they're bringing yet another product guy to fill shoes, this Johnny Suji guy. This Johnny Suji guy, he was simply responsible for Apple Silicon, whether you're looking at the A class for the mobile or you're looking at the M class for the laptops. He was part and parcel of it. And why is that important? Well, going forward, if you believe Apple's approach to AI is going to be on device, then the silicon that you're using on that device has a lot to do with it. And this guy basically wrote the book on it. So I'd like to see some more homogenization between Apple Intelligence and the on-device silicon, because I think he's got to do it. Now, one last thing, though. I do like how Tim Cook staying on the board as the executive chair of the board. Why? Because he's got that political capital, Brendo. Look how many leaders he has a good relationship with. This John Turnus guy, nobody knows who he is on a practical level.
But everybody knows that position is, I mean, one call a month, maybe, that he potentially could be on and have some say in. So let's see. Again, John Turnus, going to be a household name here, I guess, in a matter of, I don't know, days, weeks. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll have to get used to that, I feel.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. Yeah, it's just, there's something about the ease of the previous two CEOs. Like when you talk about like Jobs and Cook,
iconic.
Turnus is like, I don't know. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. I think this was, you get a hardware guy when everyone's sort of thinking, well, we know the plan is to stick with their strength in hardware. So it doesn't seem like it's changing anything. And I think maybe that's why I have a little malaise today. And that's why it's like Apple's not terribly exciting for me. Like this is not a decision that makes me feel like breakout trade, despite the fact that it's been on a nice upward churn. So maybe that means it'll get dipped. I don't know, like the 269 to 70 area is a good dip by zone. Right now the market's sort of trending down. I'm leaning away from it. Like to me, like if I'm looking for a short, it's going to be, I already said this in the afternoon yesterday, that tomorrow's trade today for me, the short side, was already looking at silver with that head and shoulder, and it's already breaking the lows. On any pop into that 72, or maybe it'll have to be the 71.5, I want to fade that. I just feel like what we've gotten here from Apple is the safe and boring choice, and which is perfectly fine for them in the long run. It just doesn't make it exciting for the day trade here today. And if anything, it might make it like temporarily short-term bearish because this is not a quote-unquote exciting pick.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, let's not discredit what Tim Cook has done for the company. $350 billion valuation to $4 trillion, holding the throne for quite some time. Billions of iPhones in the hands of the consumer. He brought in the AirPods. He updated the MacBook. There's a lot that he's done, but I think there's just been a call for a regime change, essentially. What we have is essentially Apple lacking for that first couple of years, the ball drop of Apple Intelligence, not really spending that type of money, but still having the ability to profit from the AI spend in other ways. But I think it was just a little bit of a shift here. I think the company might have needed it, hardware guy coming into play. But as for Apple, I don't think this is going to change too much for it fundamentally. It's still going to be the king of the handheld device. And with the iPhone being in billions of hands, so essentially what we have here is a guy who's more familiar with the hardware side of things. How is he going to integrate these new AI tools into that next Apple series? And I think that's what a lot of individuals are looking forward to with this guy going to step in. So, yeah, I mean, Apple, it's not going to change my narrative on it whatsoever. I like the play. I like the shuffle around. And with that being said, let's see what the guys have on UNH.
Before we do that, we did have a big super chat here from Dave. 50, thank you from Dave. I hold only 100 shares of Beyond Meat, not going to buy or sell. Trading meme stocks are risky, and I'm not an advisor. Hey, good on you for saying that. Kind. I'm sending Beyond Immerse. That's right. If anyone that doesn't know, David's sending us Beyond Immerse to try on the show. As part of a running inside joke, I tried berry cherry last night. What are you sending us? You get berry. That sounds delicious. And honestly, it was delicious. It sounds good. We'll see. The inside joke started because we were discussing it, and I was like skeptical of how good it would taste.
The Beyond Meat drink?
I was just like, yeah, like a Beyond Meat protein drink.
Yeah.
Like it's fine. It's just my initial reaction was the honest one. Like, come on. The first time you hear it, my first thought isn't, well, that's going to be fantastic. My first thought was like, oh, but I'll try anything, and if it's delicious, then I'll let you guys know.
Try
it's
anything.
Yeah. Generally speaking.
Okay.
But like, no, look, man, I'm not gonna. No, I'm not. Like, come on, like, be within reason.
And, well, pineapple pizza, you've tried it, obviously.
Of course I have. Okay. I couldn't tell you that I dislike something if I've never tried it. Every time this comes up, I'm adamant about this to my daughter. Like, don't tell me that you don't like a certain type of food if you have never had it.
Yeah.
Like, if you eat it and you're like, I don't really like that, that's fair. I have no issues with that. Like, some things you're just gonna have to because you gotta eat some vegetables and fruit. You gotta like something. Yeah. But no, you should always at least.
Do you think you could retry broccoli and maybe get into it?
Oh, I had broccoli and fried rice over the weekend.
Oh, okay,
it's not that I won't eat broccoli. I love broccoli soup. It's just that if I'm choosing a vegetable to cook, I'm not making broccoli.
Okay.
If I'm sitting there and I need my vegetables and it's the only thing on the plate, then I'm gonna eat it.
You're gonna eat it.
Yeah, and I'll eat, and I won't like it.
You're not gonna enjoy eating.
No, I'm not gonna enjoy it.
All
Like,
right.
there's very few things that I. Yeah, you know what? Like I'll pretty much any food. Broccoli soup is actually pretty good. But let's go back. We'll talk about some UNH. It is popping. The market's still in a slight slow malaise. Downside.
Yeah, back to the top end of the range here. If you zoom out to a daily chart, 350 is a bit of a pivot on the daily chart. If you go back a couple of months here with this, really nice move here on these earnings for UNH. But I mean, the big level I think is still probably $20, $30 up.
Yeah, well, we could see that because this is a really good report, Brendo. I mean, let's talk about this. A clean beat on the top and bottom line. Let's talk about EPS because that's where they've been squeezed lately. $7.23 per share is what they took. Compare that to the $6.57 expected by analysts on revenue of over $100 billion, $111.7 billion. That beats the estimates of $109.6 billion, so it beat on the top and bottom line. But the reason we're really driving here in the pre-market is they raised their 2026 outlook, specifically here the EPS, $18.25, up from previously $17.75, and they're really relying on their medical benefit ratio, which improved markedly. That's how much money, that's basically a gauge of their margins. 83.9%, the higher the number, the worse, essentially, is what I'm trying to get here. 83.9%, that's from the previous 84.8, and the street was looking for 85.5. They're also using AI and cost efficiency to help repair those margins. And there is an issue coming up because, as you know, President Trump is trying to force a lot of these drug companies to lower their prices. That could help them as well, as they may have to basically cover less expensive drugs, and that definitely helps with margin.
I feel like this is going to be the earnings season where everyone just throws in AI just at the end of a sentence, just randomly, just to see what happens.
No, but you and I have been talking about this, especially from the R&D phase. AI is yet to be realized to its full potential. Like these, let's just take Pfizer, for example. Yeah. How much money did they spend coming up with the COVID vaccine? How much could they had saved if they had AI to be able to run through some of that R&D?
Yeah,
right?
Great example. To a point where, I mean, it's tax season, as everyone's well aware. I got an email from my accountant suggesting that her AI should be more efficient in the coming days. So
she's still charging the same?
I'm over it, man. I'm over it.
Come on, man. You don't need accounting anymore. I say that as someone who did not do accounting, even though that's what I went to school for 1 year. Well, you don't need AI to look at this chart of UNH. The daily chart's looking much better, which I think we went over this the last time, sort of saying it's got that 200 period. Again, if I had liked it over other things, maybe that would have been a breakout, but it was like the wake me up when it can break the 200 period moving average. Now you get an earnings beat. I think this wants that 390 test again, which is a big level. But if you pull up the weekly chart, the last time it closed above the 50 period on a weekly,
yeah.
Well, anybody remember what happened in April of 2025 for UNH? Suffice to say, it's a little bit of a different environment. That's when things got really nasty for them. They were 25% down the following week. A different environment now, and it's just pulled that off. And this week is a confirmation over the 50. It looks like it's set up for a good run. You always want to see like a couple of days of reaction in the actual market to make sure that you're holding on to some of those earnings games. But if this doesn't lose like the 325 to 330 area this week, then on that weekly chart, it looks gorgeous for a run to 390. It's one of those catch-up trades that made a lot of sense. I'm not in it this time. I swung this twice off the lows, and neither time was as good as I thought it would be. Like the best one was like actually the 300 to the 390. I never really got more than 25% out of it, but it feels like it's on that kind of a jaunt into the 390 level here for UNH. I would posit that you might look at something, it's not really doing that much volume. I was gonna say like for the traders out there, Oscar might be a little sexier, but on sympathy. Like it's also trying to break back out. It's made a nice bottom, a little consolidation, hopefully off the 200 period here, but its volume is pretty low today, and it's not even up that much. So maybe you table that one for later. But I like UNH. Had I not put money in other places, I think I would have considered that one for a swing. It just disappointed me twice with small gains.
Yeah, well, you could, Neil, because technically we're in a bull market with UNH, up 35% off of the lows, despite being down 45% still off of its previous all-time high.
I know.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's full-on effect here, a bull market in UNH, guys. But other than that, coming in better than expected, this earnings report, so the base insurance management first quarter were 7.23 EPS, consensus estimate of 6.58, 2% revenues growth year over year, so a lot going on. Margins increasing as well too. Medical cost ratio was 83.9% for the first quarter of 2026. So things are starting to look semi-optimistic here in UNH. Once again, I mentioned 35% off of the lows, still down substantially. Obviously, what happened with the CEO last year, unfortunate. I guess it was just the start of the avalanche that essentially sent the stock to withering lows. So not too good of a look there on UNH.
Speaking of avalanches,
Amazon One Medical launched a national GLP-1 weight loss program offering injectable treatments starting at $299 per month and oral options starting at $149 per month. Not good, HIMSS. Yeah, that would be HIMSS down $3 from when that launched. So, well, remember the good old days, 24 hours ago, when HIMSS was a breakout from $28.50 to $32?
Yeah.
Well, it just gave up literally every single penny of that entire move just there. So if HIMSS wasn't on your radar today for yesterday's reasons, it probably comes in now. That feels like even if it bounces, even if it bounces, I'm just sort of looking at like 30. 30 seems like a pretty obvious, 29.5 to 30, somewhere in this area seems like an obvious continuation trade. I don't want to chase this, but that's not good. We've seen HIMSS turn and be nasty for several days when they get a bit of a down spike. But I think I'm going to want to short some pops here. VWAP's going to be too far away to play on HIMSS on that headline. But yeah, not looking too good for them. Let's go back up. Hey, there we go. I'm gonna have that in my head, like that, whatever, that music or whatever.
Yeah, it's the duo,
thank
man.
you, Deezers. Love Sean, but I'm rocking with Neil and Joe duo. Is what I love about. I say it every single time it comes up. Is what I love about the show. Everyone's got a different vibe, a different perspective. We got the bald brotherhood going on here. It's still the best. It's one of the most underrated.
Oh, bro, come on, man. It's Sharif, man.
What's the big deal?
We have the bald brotherhood, man.
What's wrong with the bald brotherhood?
What's wrong? What's wrong with
Didn't say anything was wrong.
Don't mess with the bald brotherhood. We got numbers.
Yeah, we got numbers.
You're by yourself.
Watch out.
On your own.
We got Brian Shannon, too.
Full-haired.
Jeff Bezos.
Hold on.
Brian
over here with a full head of hair talking.
He
outshines all of you guys.
Whoa,
yeah.
shine. That's crazy. No, but I think at the end of the day, you could honestly put the majority of us in kind of mix and mingle, and you're going to like what the outcome is going to be.
I got a bald head. Deal with it.
Deal with it, man.
Seriously. All this like, you know what? See, I feel right now I'm being triggered. This is not a safe space for people who are follically challenged like myself, and I'm gonna launch some. This is Canada, man. I'm gonna launch a complaint to HR over this.
About
if
what?
we don't have HR. So
but what are you gonna complain
about this hair discrimination? I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, hey man,
but it's hate.
We got
I'm a victim of hate speech right now. Okay. This is serious stuff.
Yeah.
You can cancel over that, Sharif. Anyway, let's talk about some Anthropic. We really don't care. But the Ball Brotherhood can't be messed with.
At all.
I miss Greg. Remember Greg used to always say he was HR?
I love it. Apparently he was here on Friday.
Oh, no way.
Joey was there, and so was Luca. Everybody was there.
Shout out to Greg. Amazon uptick right now, but we're off the highs here following this big move. Came mostly yesterday, but more investment into Anthropic, not a bad thing.
Yeah, let's take this angle here. Let's just talk about the actual facts. $25 billion in addition to the 8 they'd already invested. And then for that $25 billion that they're getting from Amazon, Anthropic that is, they're going to commit to $100 billion in compute usage over the next 10 years. Now, they're not going to get all the money right away. There's going to be $5 billion given by Amazon to Anthropic now, with the other $20 billion basically tied to commercial milestones. But let's get right down to the nitty-gritty, Brendo. Let's just be honest about the circularity of some of these deals, because they are circular. So, Anthropic has no data centers, unlike, OpenAI, unlike Gemini, unlike these other models. They rely entirely on the hyperscalers for their compute. So who do they buy compute off? Well, a simple search here will tell you that 60% of their compute comes from AWS, about 25 to 30% from Google, and about 10 to 15% from Azure. So by far and away, AWS, the biggest investor. So AWS, here's $25 billion, Anthropic, and then Anthropic, well, we need compute. We don't have our own data centers. Here's the money back. So again, it's that kind of CoreWeave, NVIDIA, circularity that we've been talking about. Nothing bad has happened though so far.
No.
And if you look, compute is very much undersupplied.
Exactly, and I think that's the key. As long as there's unlimited demand, where it seems to be still, we're fine. I was just looking at this high over here. I guess 258, 259 would be all-time highs again for this stock, and we're right back up there again.
And Joseph texted me last night. He's like, Amazon's going to make all-time highs today. They just got to deal with Anthropic. Looked at it. Breakout was beautiful.
Bold call, Joe. Bold call.
Bold call.
Bold call. Well, I feel always a little bit trapped, because in the note, I had dip by Amazon 253.5. And when it bounces off of that already once in the pre-market, and then it's just kind of showing you why I kind of like the level, right? Like go back to Friday, and that's where the rails came off on Friday at that price, which makes it a bit significant. And then when in the afternoon, when that headline hit about Anthropic, like the dip came into when it broke the high here at 55. The dip came into that 253, which giving it a little bit of confluence. So that's the level I like. But if we don't hold it in that opening set of candles, like if it's a bottoming tail candle, great. If it just holds and we get VWAP, great. Like all that would still be bullish. But if it just drops straight through, I'm not sitting on that level like, oh, I'm automatically going to take it and it runs me through. It's got to give me an entry for Amazon. And I'm pretty sure on the poll, I'm going to close the poll now because realistically, what's the point?
It's close, Google.
It was 42% of you thought that the first of these 4 mega cap names will hit all-time high. Amazon 42%, NVIDIA 23%. Hey, Broadcom got up to 10%, and Alphabet 25%. So appreciate. It was like 5.8%, and I was begging people to give Broadcom some sympathy votes, and a couple of people must have stepped up to give it more. But yeah, Amazon is the overwhelming favorite because it's literally $4 away.
Yeah, it's not far away. I mean, Kathy Wood buying an additional 3,500 shares. I was reading yesterday as I was scrolling through the headlines because I was like, oh, hey, what's going on here with Amazon? Sharif messaged me. He's like, all right, Timmy's out. So as I go through the mag, let's see how the market's reacting. I see that Amazon gets a pop. And a couple of headlines before I actually got into the Anthropic headline was that they're signing a deal for Amazon Web Service build-out in India as well, too, which I think is, yeah, exactly. So you have more of these hyperscalers starting to step into that emerging market. We know Tesla's there, Apple's been there, Amazon's setting foot in there as well, too. So I think there's a couple of tailwinds for this name. It's going to continue to go. Kathy Wood, 3,500 more shares in ARK K, I believe it is.
She's always buying.
She's always buying. She bought some more DoorDash as well, too. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised if we get somewhat of a pullback here, but it's only a matter of time. Whether it be a gap up or through intraday price action, you're going to get that climb here, and you're going to breach that. You're only 1.5% off of that all-time high in Amazon. So I think it's going to be the first out of the Mag 7 to run into that new all-time high realm. So looking forward to that. Then probably going to be Google, and then we have NVDA going to trail behind it in that third place. So, yeah, the market's really, it's looking really good. And we talked about the big boys in the larger market capitalization names being the leaders in which is going to drive us into those new all-time highs, especially stepping into earnings season. I wouldn't be surprised if you have some larger gap up, some recovery in some of the other names like the Microsofts who have been hit the hardest essentially. And even Tesla, we know that those EV numbers aren't going to necessarily work in our favor, but it's the cyber cab that we're going to be looking forward to. When is he going to start more production? Expanding, obviously, its geofence in more of Texas, going into Dallas and Houston. So that's positive. We know he was obviously creative with his Austin geofence there, and then he started to expand that. So, I mean, yeah, let's go. Let's see some more creativity from Elon Musk and some of these larger.
Oh, before we jump right back up, we do have SoundHound's moving up here, and this is the reason why. SoundHound AI to acquire live person combining proprietary voice, agentic AI, and digital messaging to create a world-leading end-to-end omni-channel conversational AI platform. So making some power moves. There's a lot of movers today. Movers and shakers, squeeze names, small caps, and of course we get those earnings tomorrow. And 5 minutes ago, just actually even before that, it just hit 925. So I might as well, while we're here, show you that the only names on the imbalance locator, small imbalance there, 500,000 on HIMSS. They of course got that negative news, unfortunately, against them. SoundHound's actually there for a small buy. UNH 160,000 to the buy side. Nothing too big otherwise. Let's go back up to the desk.
Yeah, I mean, Joe just covered it very well, so not much to add to that. It was a bit of a nothing day yesterday here for Tesla. We're right at 400. But yeah, it's going to be what comes after the close tomorrow.
Yeah, so what we're expecting in terms of revenue is $22.3 billion. We'll see if they can hit the 16% gross margins, which is what the street's expecting. Morgan Stanley already thinks they're going to miss that. With respect to production and delivery, already got Q1 deliveries. They missed on that. Below the 365,000 was 358 and change. Focus on the call, AI, robotics. People are going to want to know a lot about that. With respect to massive capital spending as well, Terafab, possibly about $20 billion in 2026. That could be a bit of an issue there. We'll want to hear more about the AI5 now that they're done. They're tapped out there. We go to next to production. Design is done. And then strategic outlook. Jefferies warns that high spending could spark rumors of a SpaceX merger. But I was looking at SpaceX this morning as well, and like when they took over XAI, when they merged with XAI, completely fudged their balance sheet. They were quite positive. Now they're running at a loss because XAI is so CapEx heavy and bleeding money. So another company merging here that is bleeding money with SpaceX, I don't know.
We'll see what Elon cooks up. I mean, I still go back to this big green candle day when it had that really, really strong breakout. The way that buyers stepped in ahead of this earnings report, and then now we're holding higher here, just below that 400, guys. It feels a little bit stronger than it should.
Yeah, but you know what? The way it rejected yesterday, if this thing can't show me buyers above $400, like if it consolidates anything like this, even on the 15-minute above the 400 level, fair enough. But until then, it's giving you a great breakout at 400 with a monster failure at that price. So going into the earnings, you're going to have to show you can chew through it. Otherwise, it's probably a pop and fade. It's not the one that I'm looking at. I already mentioned like silver. I'm looking for the pop fade. 928 just hit, and a couple of things just spiked up. So I'm just going to check the imbalances. No, not kind of a nothing burger. I did just see a bit of a spike. Intel was one that went to the upside there. I didn't really check NVIDIA. But yeah, so no imbalances are on Tesla, not really anything else. It needs that 400 level in a big way.
Yeah, we're running out of time, but quick thing, I think Sharif hit that one on the head. Essentially, the CapEx is going to be a big number. We know that the EV numbers aren't going to be substantial or needle moving or anything along those lines. It's just like, hey, remain forward looking as we typically are with this stock. Cybercab and the robotics, which I think the Cybercab is substantially ahead of what we have going in the robotics standpoint from a mass production standpoint. I just don't know if we're there in the tech yet, and we can see the functions of that thing aren't the best. The brain, good, but the mechanics, not necessarily there yet. All right, 1 minute left. Let's take a look at CrowdStrike and then get into the open.
Yeah, not much to know. I mean, we covered a little bit earlier. CrowdStrike with an upgrade today. There's a couple others with upgrades as well. Nicely positive here. I mean, we're holding higher for this one too, guys. Just keep in mind, we are still getting some comments coming across from Trump. Looks like he's left CNBC and is back on Truth Social, so keep an eye out.
Well, we got Tesla moving to the downside right away off the open. Remember, competition for HIMSS, and they're still looking to the downside, down now 7%. This one, I don't have them on the list. I was looking at short pop into 72 on silver, buy dip into Intel. If it does a bottoming tail candle, have IBIT, and I'm looking at the 43 level on IBIT and Amazon. But HIMSS is going to be a late ad for me because obviously it retraced the entirety of yesterday's move. So pull back into maybe VWAP here, the 29.5 level is going to be a bit of an ad. Hey, it's Tuesday. United making some fresh highs even as we speak after their earnings. Uneventful from the president at 8:30, so I was actually pretty surprised. Didn't really move the markets. Well, you like that.
I like that.
You like that.
I like that. To be honest with you, I've had enough of it.
I've had enough, he says. Well, you know what? I understand. Look, I understand the sentiment. Like, you want to be able to. Like, sometimes you just like to be able to trade on technicals.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want that. I don't want the. Yeah, I don't want all the noise. Is
Exactly.
The best way to think about it.
I personally don't. That's just me. That's my preference, right? Like, that's listen, the first couple of days are great, but then after, when it's just like you step in and then you have these these headlines, it's like the back and forth, and it's we're up, we're down. It's just like, okay, the first initial moves is where you're going to see the majority of it, the volatility really kick in. Off to the races we go. Okay, we're tanking, whatever it may be. But then after, it's just that little nitty gritty. It's like the jabs to the face, and then volatility spiked there, stopped out, cool. Volatility spiked down. Stopped out, even more cool. So it's just like, all right, let's relax a little bit. Flush City right out of the gates, guys. Yeah, Tesla moving lower. Right, we have Webull. I have my eyes on Webull. IBIT as well, not selling with the overall market, but things looking relatively. Silver's not? Okay. Good look there. And other than that, man, Q's moving down. SPY heading lower as well. So I got my eyes on Webull, IBIT, and SMR this morning, guys.
Well, right now, I like that IBIT. It was 40, about 43 were returned. We'll call it more like 40. Yeah, the prior morning high was like 42.95. Distinction without a difference. But it's going to need to bounce off that level. Intel looks like it's doing that opening candle dance or nonsense, or you know what it's been doing. It's like every single day it has a bottoming tail wick or a topping tail wick, and that determines direction. For now, it's looking like a bottoming tail, which is crazy because the market's headed downside pretty huge here, which is nuts. Like Tesla's falling like a rock, Amazon's falling like a rock. I'm on the offer of SLV. I just haven't been picked up yet. And Intel's actually looking strong. So Intel, close above 67 on that candle and show me that you're going to be this bottoming tail. And I guess I'm taking a shot at a long, which is surprising. But I am, now silver's starting to go. Right now, silver's starting to come back in. So I'm looking to short this pop here in SLV. If it gets to 72, I think that's a secondary trade.
Whoa, SMR. See, something just stepped into the market, just like that. As we talk about it, bang. Off to the races, a flush city to the downside there, Neil. We're out of SMR. We were going long there, so we'll take a 20-cent hit, but something immediately steps in. So somebody truth, something going on as we continue with that momentum to the downside. An insane amount of volume as SMR just decided to go tank city, and I didn't even want to get in, to be honest with you. So I don't know what happened. My hotkeys changed up, so I have to work on them. Other than that, you're ready to rock and roll there?
No, there's nothing yet.
Okay. Well, all right.
And Trump didn't truth.
Okay. Well, there's going to be something because you just don't see that volatility spike step in across the board as the market flushed, volume increased, Webull as well. But IBIT holding up pretty good.
Dell just jumped as well. there. I think maybe I heard in my ear something about Michael Dell tweeting, but I was listening to you, so I didn't really catch it. But Dell making a power move to the upside. As I said, Intel making a definite run higher, so it's, there we go. I did that bottoming tail candle, so I'm going to look to buy the dip into the volume weighted average price. I am in that SLV. That did come into VWAP in here. Tag that lower high. It's got an all day, well, it's got an all pre-market kind of trend down and holding that prior high, so we're short that. But I did say whatever, kind of sucks that the market's down like this, but I did say if the first move was a bottoming tail candle on Intel, I'm going long and I'm going to give it to the prior low. So that's going to be 66, like 85-ish. And if it holds VWAP, then it's an add and then a continuation play. Like every single day, maybe this will be the day that it doesn't do it. If it's got a bottoming tail, you want to go long on the following candle, which is what we're in, at least for now. And man, Amazon, that's still trying to find a bid here on Amazon. Nasty opening candle there for Amazon. It's going to have to reestablish itself above VWAP for me to even think about it. What was that? I just heard music.
Yeah, some form of music. All right, at least we're good. All right, we're good. Let's see if we can catch this fill on Webull. I like what we got going on. We're posted up at approximately, oh, there we go, bang, 27s. We catch that if we hold up. If we break down to 10s, we get out of dodge. No problem about that. I mean, there it is, 12s. We're actually proving wrong. We give it a little bit more room as the momentum to the downside is in full effect. I think there might be a short here on Bitcoin. So we'll try a couple of longs, if not sit on our hands and wait for some high quality opportunities, a pullback, and then essentially a move lower in the majority of the names. Adara.
Still not seeing any news. I know people were talking about this spike. There is still zero news that I am seeing to support this, and there's also no true socials. I want to do a little bit of housekeeping while I am up here because at 10 a.m. we do have some economic data. We're going to be getting the pending home sales change month over month and business inventories, but more importantly, maybe at 10 a.m. we get the confirmation hearing for Kevin Warsh as Fed chair. I'll be watching this with the most amount of excitement that you can imagine and be covering it all for you over here at Trader TV Live. Do not miss it. Don't be late. The excitement will probably start around 10:15 because there's usually a lot of opening speeches. But once we start getting these questions, once we start getting anything of note, I'll keep you guys posted. I also want to let you know CAR on watch. This already is halted and has moved like within a range about $50 from the open. Back to you.
Oh my God, it's halted up. You know what? What's so crazy is I was like down as if it was going to be down. Come on, Neil. It's not going to be halted down. I should have known up. And it looks like it rugged people because it trapped shorts by breaking lower, and then it is death by a million cuts. That's got to be nasty. All right, so going to get a bid out here on SLVs. That just came into 71s. Looking for, like, it's VWAP, going to look for the low of the day. On SLV, and then INTC, which is Intel. I know we have a super chat. We'll get to it in a second. Ooh, it was just bouncing. All right, I don't think this one's going to hold. But it was a setup. I said if it finally did it, like every day, whichever direction the original candle goes. And I think we should have waited for the 15 instead of just taking the 3. But it's still bouncing. It's catching bids every single time in here. I'm not even offering on it because I want to see 67.5. And if there's no seller, I want to lift. If I see a seller up there, then I can just hit offer enter. But if there's no seller, I want to lift and look for higher. Because the way that this moved off of the open yesterday, like I want to give it a chance to be pushing 68 to 69. Well, it was a super chat. That's what it was in my ear. Throw it up there. JKL in the house, dreading leg day report. Leg day is the best. Okay. Added to my MSTR short.
Leg day is the best.
The MSTR hater. No, you don't have to be a hater. Honestly, yeah.
I think, but that's the play.
I'm not a huge fan. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it.
It's Bitcoin long, MSTR short. So I was reading a little bit. Shreve and I were touching on. I already forget the ticker of it. What his preferred stock is. Anyways, aside from that, every time this thing touches over $100, he sells it. So it goes back to about south of $99, and then with that capital, he just goes out and buys more Bitcoin. Some people calling it STRC. Yeah, exactly. So essentially, what's going on with that is it hits over $100. They sell it back low south of that to $99 approximately, and with that difference in price, they're just buying more Bitcoin. That's why he has the ability to just continuously do this. So, I mean, it's interesting.
That's a second security that does what?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, look it up. STRC, man. Every time, so that's what it does essentially. Every time it hits over $100, they sell it back down to $99. With that funding, they just go out and buy more Bitcoin. So I mean, that's it. I mean,
I'm just gonna leave it alone.
What's that?
I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm sure he's a smarter guy than I am.
Well, I mean, hey, it seems like that, anyways. I mean,
yeah, that sounds.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, we'll get back to trading.
I mean, yeah, we'll get back to trading.
Do you, Michael?
Yeah, do whatever you want to do, man. That's for sure.
That would be the most interesting dude to have on the show, just to ask some questions. I would really, it would be welcome. But anyways, I'm just gonna get back to trading. So the seller, the seller's the right word. The seller that was up there at 67.5, still there. So I did take a leg out when I saw that. I'm gonna try to offer out in front if it breaks the high, because you're still getting this bit of a dump, and we're only halfway to that 15-minute candle closing. So there's still some time, plenty of time on that 15-minute candle. And I want to make sure I can get some out if it pops the high and then comes back into 76. SLV, look at that. I don't think I've mucked up and said silver instead of SLV. It's pushing through VWAP. So I did get half the move here, but you know what? I'm not even gonna wait till the stop. Sometimes I'm just gonna take the scalp trade, and then if it holds under VWAP, I can jump back into this. The market is tanking, or not tanking. The market is weak and heading lower. SLV is going up, and this wasn't even the price. Like the initial price was shorts under 72, like the prior support level. So I can let this get up there and then re-engage the short if I have to. Just feels like a better way to approach it. Just kind of take the win that you can and move on to the next opportunity. Hold on to that intel. Amazon does not seem like it wants to show any kind of a bid, which is fine. Whatever. I'm now looking at a couple of things pretty decently, so I don't have to worry too much about Amazon not catching the bid.
Yep.
It did at 51.5 held. You could have got $1.50 out of it if you took a bounce play, but you'd be fighting the market, unfortunately.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, there it is. We're in Webull here, guys. I mean, we continuously reject the volume-weighted average price. Let's see if we can get a little bit more momentum stepping in. We run into 35s, 36s, and there's a seller up here right at 35. So I have to be cautious with the overall market selling. It's not going to be good for this trade, and you can see that it has the ability to push back in. I was going to take a little bit more off. They're slow on the gun. So if it comes back against us a couple of pennies, we just hop out. And sure enough, that seller is definitely dominating the space. We have that buyback. So I don't know how much is going to be going for it aside from that PDT, right? Not really doing too much right now. There is some prints that say, hey, all right, hold on, hold our horses. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. But if we crack 23s, then we kind of start to really need to reassess the situation. But the longer, this is going to be a key moment, essentially, is what I'm getting at, is how are we going to react one more test of that? And I have to be prepared to get out at 35s just in case that seller is in full control, just moving price around. And you can see them step back in. So when we talk about focusing on the tape, every time you run into that specific area, boom, immediate flush down. And with that being said, no signs of imminent strength here in Webull. Pop back up to 30. Let's see how we react one more time around 31s and 32s. If we head up into 34s, is it going to be somewhat of a little pop and then price push right back down? So keep an eye on the tape here, guys, as we're now printing 731s, but immediately met by some defense. So we have to keep our eye out on what is going on behind the scenes with Webull right now.
You're not going to believe, cars halted up again.
Yeah, man.
It opened up, looked like it was losing the bid. Now it's halted through 668. It looks like the highs. That's doing much better than Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat is currently breaking the lows. It's just not holding that VWAP. It would be nice if this was above VWAP, I would take a shot at it. It's not really showing you any desire to do so. You got, oh shoot, I was about to say that AMD was holding strength and above the volume weighted average price, but it is challenging it as we speak. And Intel's doing the same dance. Like Intel's doing a similar dance too. Like you got the bottoming tail candle. I was trying to reload underneath 67 last time. I just canceled the order. So you got the breakout, came back in, it dipped, bottom front of 67, but I want this to hold. Again, it's the bottoming tail candle that's key, and we haven't closed the 15-minute. Like part of the thesis is I want to look for a place to add to this if this maintains bottoming tail and then holds above 67 on the 15. In 3 minutes, we should have some confirmation of that. Let's go to Adara at the desk.
So for one, it looks like President Trump is posting on Truth again. It's not at all market related, it's all political, but just be aware that he is on Truth Social. We also have VELO on watch, Altucher, James Altucher, who is, I guess, posts some like blog type long ideas often related to M&A online. He's saying that this VELO play, which is Veloso Inc., could be an interesting play with regards to the SpaceX IPO, saying that this is a supply chain stock that could benefit SpaceX and could be also benefiting from the eventual SpaceX IPO. VELO, back to you.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, Adara. And Navitas, NVTS is a popular one in the chat. We'll get to the visualizer as well. I realize we haven't done that this morning. Navitas up 18%. It's blowing out. It's not the first time. This is kind of on its own. It's too reasonable to call it a squeeze, but it's on its own breakout. That's the word I want to use. Traditional breakout. Just remember, you got the high up here at like 17 bucks. When you have bag holder levels, when you're day trading, they matter more than, I guess, if you're looking on a longer time frame. And just for the car lovers out there, like Intel is still in the same range. Like it'll go up 10, 20 cents in the money, maybe pull back 10, 15, but not doing anything crazy. Oh, it's still not another minute. I was gonna say, I thought it was opening up now, but it's opening up in one more minute. And then the other squeeze name, Beyond Meat, still looking weak.
Yeah.
Not really giving you anything. This one, it's setting up like it could do a similar false breakdown lower and then maybe take a breakout through VWAP, or I'll just stare down all day. So this thing down all day and there won't be a trade, which will be frustrating. I think there's still a little bit more room for Beyond Meat. I don't know.
Edible? We can, I mean...
Edible, that's in play today?
Well, apparently. Someone's saying,
EDBL?
why aren't we speaking about it? But I mean, like, come on, man, how EDBL?
You can't see them all.
Exactly.
That's the thing. You can't see them all.
Yeah, Edible's moving, that's for sure. I mean, from 95 cents open all the way up to $1.50. So that's a big time move. You get 60% just like that. We get out. So this is the seller that I was talking about. We get out at break even here on Webull. So essentially, we could have caught some up there, but I'm like, you know, let's avoid this one. We're involved in some IBIT on the longs here.
Oh, yeah. You bugger, you went.
On IBIT?
I'm trying to get in now.
Yeah. So I got 09s. Let's see, man. Let's see if this is going to work and break through the volume weighted average price. Did I catch only a partial fill on that one? Wow. I did. No, I caught a full fill. I mean, aside from that, let's see if this one's going to start to work out for us. IBIT as it's coming back in. That's why I posted up a little bit south of the volume weighted average price. There are some signs of strength right now in Webull. It's not really breaking down. I thought that we would break through that 30 level and continue to the south side, but it's bouncing off of 75.25s and then continuing to climb heading towards the volume weighted average price. So
I had to listen to my rule. I told you at the 15-minute candle was going to be the determination on Intel, and it's as simple as this. This is the 15-minute candle opening up, and then the first thing it did was lose 67. So if this can close holding 67, then I can get back into it. Otherwise, the entire thesis of, hey, if it shows me that bottoming tail, I'm gonna go for the long, but I can't let it start to break down on that second candle. It's still a bottoming tail, but I need to see green to confirm it. I was in early, now I need this candle to confirm. I also took the IBIT because it looks like a bit of a trend break, but I might have missed my chance on...
SMR looking good too.
Well, I don't think so yet on SLV. I think I can be patient with this. I don't think I have missed opportunity yet. I still think this is a short overall. And it just made a topping tail at 71.5. I'll let it press off VWAP maybe to get back into this. But I still feel pretty bearish on SLV. Just haven't really seen that golden re-entry point yet. You got USO heading down, which is interesting, given the fact that the market's still looking weak in here, Joe. And then one last one. We're looking at Amazon off of the open, of course, with the Anthropic news. Excuse me. Couldn't get to the mute button. Sorry, guys. This is now trying to battle VWAP. And it's at that 52.5 that I liked. So I haven't really taken a look at Amazon for the trade yet because it was so weak off the open. But if this can start to hold over VWAP, just a little bit of a break is also a trend break, which I'll try to get into.
Yeah. There goes, Webull, man. We just get out at that break even, and then sure enough, now printing 40s. We were in at 25s roughly, and now it's continuing to climb. So a nice breakthrough. There was that seller stepping in. I'm like, let's get out of that. Oh, there he is again. Boom, pushing price right back to the downside. So Webull still looking pretty good. Buyback PDT rule. Let's see if we can get Bitcoin rolling on today's session. The market's starting to head back towards the volume-weighted average price. There wasn't really anything substantial going on here with IBIT. I mean, I like what Neil was looking at, the trend break potentially. He did breach it momentarily, but then rejected it. So this is going to be a key moment. And what we're seeing in as for the strength here, it's not the best, all right? So it's just like, okay, yeah, uptick right into the volume-weighted average price and then immediate rejection. So we'll have to be prepared to get out of this one, sit on our hands for a little bit and see if we can regroup and find some good potential longs here on the day. I mean, we had one set up on Webull, just getting out of it. And then sure enough, SMR, I was looking at that one as well, too. That it's not doing too much. So aside from that, nice recovery in the NASDAQ and the SPY, as the SPY is now above the volume-weighted average price. So a pretty good look there. Let's see if we can get Bitcoin to participate. SPY, someone's mentioning Rich Tech Robotics. Let's pull up RR. RR. Let's see what Rich Tech is up to here today. Yeah, not too bad. I mean, obviously liquidity issues on that front. This support level not looking too good here in Bitcoin. So I'll have to get ready to hop out.
And you know what just bounced VWAP as well? Like Amazon just bounced VWAP, which got me into it finally. So we'll see where it can try to go. I see the NASDAQ and the SPY are both. Whoops, I just typed in NVIDIA. That's hilarious. As I was saying NASDAQ, and clearly meant to type in the Qs, but sometimes old habits die hard. But the Qs are right to VWAP. Yeah. Which could provide a little bit of resistance, but we'll stick with it. I said if Amazon held that 52.5, it busted above the volume-weighted average price. That's about where it held. So I'm giving it to that stop at 252.5. Still tracking to see what silver is doing. And what is dead, well, may not die. It's like Beyond Meat's trying to go. I just feel if any point this breaks the downward trend, I'm going to get involved in it. So if I keep coming back to it, sorry, it's in play. What are you going to do? And because there's Avis. Like my first thought is, well, if it's a sympathy play, well, Avis is going absolutely ham above $700. Where are the other squeeze names going? Like, are they going to follow? I'm just looking for one of these things to maybe BlackBerry instead. Maybe BlackBerry is the catch-up trade because that also rinsed the lows. So rinse the bottom, break out the top, and squeeze people. I guess it's better than nothing because Carr is going, and I feel like I was going to follow along with what Carr did. Let's go to Adara at the desk. Ooh, Amazon.
Very minor Middle East headline here on watch. Keep an eye on USO. Seeing reports that a stateless tanker called Tiffany has been seized in the Indian Ocean by the U.S. So I guess blockade-related efforts still in effect. Nothing massive. Moderna also getting some European Commission permission here with regards to their marketing authorization for their mRNA 1083. Again, nothing massive here, just some headlines as we await that 10 a.m. A couple numbers at 10 a.m. and B, Kevin Warsh's confirmation hearing. Back to you.
Hello.
Come on, hold the low. Yeah, it's holding the low. There goes Webull. Ah, what a missed op. As soon as I get out, too, on that last retest is when it decides to go. Now it's really starting to squeeze. Oh, my God. There it goes, Webull. We had that signal. We had that trade. And I'm literally that last liquidity. And then, sure enough, off to the races it goes. So not too bad of a look on Webull. Let's see if we can hold up here on Bitcoin as the market is just hovering below the volume-weighted average price. Let's head over and see what some of the larger participants are doing. $693. Dare we look at the options chain on this one, Neil? Ah, there
693. It was at 700.
Yeah. So I mean, there now it's at 688. So I mean, a bit.
Oh, it's turning.
Yeah, this thing is nuts. Just avoid it. To be honest with you, we were having fun with it on the options chain this morning. We can take a look at what we got going on 3 days until expiration. Okay, that's Alibaba. I'm like, whoa, what happened to the contracts on this thing? Carr. Avis Budget Group. Yeah, I mean, oh my God, that's insane, dude. This is absolutely insane. A $2,000 spread.
Took a quick trade there.
381% implied volatility.
Well, it's not like it's going to get more reasonable the higher it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of how it works. It gets more nonsensical the longer.
Exactly. That's crazy. Wow. Yeah, that's some insane stuff, man. I've never seen any numbers like that.
Honestly, there's going to be, I feel like if that gets back through the halt price, what was the down halt? Oh, no, there hasn't been a down halt this morning.
The last halt was 668. The halt before that was 647.
But they're all up halts.
668 and then it popped.
Now, what I was thinking is if it ever down halts, bounces higher, and then retakes the down halt level, but it hasn't had a down halt, so it doesn't really matter. I guess that support would be like 621.
We will know.
I suppose, if you're looking for something. But anyways, doesn't really make that much of a difference. It doesn't seem to want to break down. I am looking at that BlackBerry trying, Beyond Meat is trying. One of these to come and play. These won't break trend. They're just headed lower, man. And then IBIT's holding the low.
It is, but the market's moving higher and it's not participating.
Oh.
It's like, oh, Weeble's moving, looking at SMR, it's moving higher, and then Bitcoin.
I always look at it this way, though. If I'm in this one and I'm like, okay, it's breaking trend, holding the 43, like that's the level. And once the open hit, like I'm in. If it breaks the low, it breaks the low. I don't think it's an ad until it gets above the volume weighted average price. So like I'm just sort of sitting in it, and then I'm back into silver because like that's the one that worked initially on the short. It flashed me a topping tail, so I jumped back into it, just looking for the same thing. It didn't follow all the way through to the low of the day last time, but I can reshort it, give it to the prior bar high, sort of stick with the thesis. If it's
you want a coffee?
I'll take one for sure.
Right,
yeah, just black for me. Appreciate it. Could have got. I mean, Randy would have gone.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
Got any tip money for Randy?
Appreciate it. No, so yeah, again, like, so I'll just give it to that prior high. If you're looking at CAR, everybody, I know you're gonna see a topping tail candle, and that looks like a reversal, but it's had some pretty hefty down moves and kind of smoked people before. It did this at the open yesterday. Went from like 518, pulled back like 30 bucks, and then ripped some faces off. Just be really cautious with this. I'm looking for any bounce on this, and then whichever one of these looks better between Beyond Meat, sort of BlackBerry breaking here, or Beyond Meat breaking trend for a follow trade. But I want no part of that if Avis is falling apart. As long as CAR is holding, then I don't mind it. They have nothing to do with each other. I just feel like when you have a bunch of squeezes happening, I tend not to want the leader of the pack to be falling all over itself to the downside if I try to get into one of those long. That's it. I think we might have missed a super chat, Andre, if we can throw it up. So I'm being told in the chat that I think we might have missed something. And it's from Lorenzo. Now is ripping. Love from Italy. Where in Italy? I've only been to one place in Italy. Sean's family's from Italy, so I'm sure he's been to far more places in Italy than me. ServiceNow is absolutely, well, you're 100% right about that. I'm not here to deny you. The thing I always ask is, do we have a story on ServiceNow? And then you remember, the software names don't need a story, because this has actually been, I'm not saying there isn't one, but there's a relief rally that's happening in this entire group to begin with anyways. Adara?
So they completed an acquisition yesterday. We know usually acquisition announcements aren't great, but the completion of them usually tends to be like, I guess, another chapter. That's the acquisition of ARMIS that was announced yesterday at 4:10 p.m. Yeah. Furthermore, tomorrow, I believe, also around 4:10 p.m., they're going to be reporting earnings. So NOW on watch ahead of earnings. I don't have any other news beyond what I just mentioned here, but a lot of these SaaS plays looking pretty strong.
Thank you so much, Sarah Derek. And that's, you know what, that's all you need. The reporting, relief rally, we didn't know they closed that deal. And then structural breakout. This is if there is a visual description to what I wanted Intel to show me, it was that bottoming tail and then the continuation, just because I'd seen it happen in the past. Unfortunately, it's still looking, does the bottoming tail, but then this candle is the opposite of continuation, as you can so plainly see. That's just, all right. Now that's just getting out of hand.
Yeah, I think so.
Can we have, this is just a small request, can we have like several different sounds for those? That maybe they could be random and different. BCN Rob. Joe, Soundhound, big short interest with a squeeze pre-market, but spanked down, climbing up. Any news?
We can figure that out right now for you.
Soundhound, there was news on Soundhound, but I think we did. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it. I thought I did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did.
She's full year 2027 revenue to 350.
No, it's they're acquiring a live person here. I'll try to.
Yeah, live person. Yeah, to acquire live person. Yeah,
here it is. Like Soundhound acquiring live person, 43 million equity value, yada, yada, yada. Expects to receive 74 million at closing. Anyways, they're making an acquisition is the best way to put it. There is a catalyst for Soundhound. We did bring it up, but it was a good stock. I didn't really see any reason to jump into it. I always find like if a stock is going haywire because they're making an acquisition, it always gives me pause. Like usually on the larger cap stocks, that tends to be seen negatively because they're using capital. In this particular case, it seems like that was exactly it, and it completely reversed the move.
Yeah.
It's never a catalyst that I'm a huge fan of for the small cappers, because I feel like you're just basically flipping a coin as to how they're going to react. Okay, so you might have seen, I got VWAP on silver.
Nice.
I'll just wait at the next levels here, down in front of 71. And then LOD, like if he gets to low, they will make a decision at that point. So it's the only one that kind of set right back up, and I'm favoring the short. But I have to respect the strength that's happening in the market. Thanks, Fabian. And then it's putting in some higher lows. I might actually add, if I can, to IBIT.
You like it? I'm not in love with it. I mean,
It just triple bottomed.
Yeah.
I did say like it's a general downtrend. It just triple bottomed. If it breaks back above the trend and above 50 the volume weighted average price, then I want to add to it. Not yet, but that's certainly what I'm looking at for now.
Yeah. I mean, I like what we got going on, right? It is holding up there. We have the NASDAQ and the SPY above the volume-weighted average price. Webull starting to come back in a little bit here. I don't know why I have Webull up still for you guys. We'll take a look at IBIT and see what we got cooking on this front. I don't know why it does that. Like, oh my.
If you smell
what the rock is cooking. Let's see if this works. I mean, we're right below the volume-weighted average price. Not too bad of a place. Obviously, this would be more ideal at the lower end of the range. But with VWAP sloping down, that's why I'm not really in love with it. But let's see what we can get going as the market continues to climb higher. So SMR was definitely the better play here today. We tried to long off of that, didn't work, and then sure enough, lately, a little bit after that, it turns around, gives you 50 cents or so. So yeah, I mean, there goes Bitcoin starting to come back in. Maybe we have to look for some form of a short. We sit on our hands for a little bit here today because we don't want to start the week off too cool. Yesterday was red, full disclosure. We're not going to hide that. So we want to turn this boat around, and with that, it's going to be more precision and just wait for some high quality opportunities to fall into our lap. 4303 printing. What is the options chain telling us? I mean, like yesterday we experienced like it punched through VWAP. You see the momentum and the volume really start to kick in. There might be something stepping into the market here, but nonetheless, you're starting to see the tape really start to react here on Bitcoin. Let's go to Adara. What's happening now?
Oh, now Amazon.
Is it going?
Sorry, guys. Hi guys, sorry, my computer froze up a little bit, so I'm briefly over at this computer just to give you guys the numbers. Unfortunately, no happening now, though I can go down with a rundown of what is happening. 10 a.m., you've got business inventories month over month, 0.4% versus 0.1% expected. I'll move this over so you guys can see this. So again, 0.4% here for business inventories for February. That is going to be better than the expected negative 0.1% and the consensus of 0.3% expected. Pending home sales, 1.5%. That's going to be below the prior print of 2.5%. But above the consensus and forecast of 0.1% and 0.5% respectively. I apologize again, a little bit late, some technical issues, but just to go over some of the headlines today, we had a lot of big tech headlines, both Amazon and Apple and Watch AAPL appointing a new CEO, John Turnus, which we've already been expecting for a couple months, but now it's confirmed. Apple also announcing a big Anthropic investment that could be worth up to $25 billion over the next few years. Furthermore, you've got meme movers like CAR, Avis, Hertz, HTZ, and BlackBerry, as well as Beyond Meat. So tons of movers across the board when it comes to these meme-related stocks. Earnings from UNH, GE, and 3M are all going to be on watch. And last but not least, Kevin Warsh, 10 a.m. hearing. Don't be late. Don't miss it. I will cover all of this for you guys. I apologize for this kind of fun ragtag happening now segment, but you know what's also happening now? We've got Neil and Joe, and they're trading. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adair. Well, let's be real, man. You've got active markets lately, especially this V-shaped potential recovery we're seeing. And for traders, this kind of environment is going to create big opportunities. Big moves are giving you big setups and more momentum, everybody. And that's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing risk. No more fear of blowing up your personal account. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own personal savings. This is what we call limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets, visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now and get 10% off. Shout out to Trade the Pool. I want to thank them for sponsoring this portion of the show, as USO is jumping higher, flying higher, doing whatever you want to call it. It's getting into that top. All right, if there's a reversion here on USO, it's probably a good place to look for like a dip buy on something, but the market's already bounced a bit here. My first thought was going to be to go back over to Intel, but not a huge fan. Oh, by the way, CAR lost VWAP here. And this is about as weak as it's looked. I mean, being under VWAP for any amount of time, I guess, is like a miracle for a stock this strong. But as long as that's true, I'm not on the breakout train on Beyond Meat and BlackBerry. I'm not bringing I can't do it. Not if CAR is headed to the downside. Like BlackBerry's losing VWAP as well. So at least for now, the long for me is going to be wrong. I'll wait till that finds some more strength. But it's only the shorts that's worked out. Like Beyond Meat, IBIT tried to break the trend, went into the long there. It broke the prior bar low. And so it's really just been waiting around for silver. I find that by the time 10 o'clock, I just got it now. I just find when 10 o'clock hits, it's like, okay, well, what's the thing that's doing what you were still doing, kind of what you were expecting? Silver's holding some of those highs. If USO continues to climb higher, I think SLV gets to the low, so I guess I'll stick with this one. And then just monitor what's going on. And maybe we find a trade in Beyond Meat still. Maybe we find a trade, or I find a trade in BlackBerry or CAR. Probably the other ones. CAR, you can want to be shorted, but I'm not seeing any subs. AMD for now is relatively strong, but I said earlier, show me when there's buyers above 280, and then I'll be a believer. This thing rejected 280 so hard yesterday that into today's market, it's hard to like this thing when you look at this chart. If you got it off the bottom, great. Otherwise, show me closes above 280. Show me some continuation strength. There's been some pretty harsh rejections on this stock.
Yeah, so that's the game plan here. I think we're going to wait for a potential retest of the volume-weighted average price. We had that pullback, and then sure enough, it just continued to the downside here on RBIT. You want to try to catch that lower end of the range, looking for that breakout through VWAP. But what I was seeing from a price action standpoint is like there's no point in holding on to this any longer. So we take that stop out there. We take the stop out on Webull. So a cooler start here this morning, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start to recover a little bit in Bitcoin. Some nice indecision prints off of this pullback here on Webull. So maybe you'll get another attempt going back into the long. So yeah, let's be patient and see if we can find some more opportunities. SMR starting to recover, but with the NASDAQ rejecting some of the pre-market zones, let's keep an eye out on that one. All right, Adair, what do you have?
What I have here is Kevin Warsh and his confirmation hearing. That's just begun. Be aware, keep an eye on the market, and certainly keep an eye on this show because I will be reporting this with the most zeal that anyone could have. I'm very excited about this hearing. How this is going to work is we currently have the chair of the committee, the Senate Banking Committee, Tim Scott. He's going to be kicking things off with an opening statement. Then we will get Senator Elizabeth Warren. She is the ranking member. She's going to be going over her own opening statement. After that, we're going to get Kevin Warsh, who is again nominated for the Fed chair position. He'll be giving his opening statement. So once all these opening statements are done, probably around when our 10:20 small cap recap kicks off, that's when we're going to get questions. And these questions are absolutely going to be the more interesting thing here. If and when I get anything related to the market, any comments here, we know he's commented in crypto in the past. He also is married to the granddaughter of Estee Lauder, so EL could potentially come up. If I get anything market related, market moving, or I think of interest that I think you guys should know, I will keep you guys posted. I'll be watching this whole hearing. Can't wait. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adair. Yeah, there goes Webull on a slight pullback. Neil and I just talking about IBIT here, essentially. We're just thinking, hey, why didn't we get that rebreak through the volume-weighted average price? It's just chopping around. I think at some point, what we can see on the higher time frames, it's going to break down a little bit here. We have a key support level right at that 42.93 mark. Unless it bounces, right? Like, unless you have some large participants kick in and then sure enough wants to recover. But I think that's going to be the narrative here, a potential short on IBIT. Neil, as Webull is definitely one of the stronger names today.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's looking pretty strong. And my goodness, is this the moment? It's almost like it's a weird put up or shut up because CAR just bounced and failed the volume weighted average price. This could end up breaking down of all things. So if it breaks 640, I don't know which one do I like better? Beyond Meat's, BlackBerry's breaking down. I keep mixing those two up. Sorry, guys. And then Beyond Meat's losing the bid as well. I'm kind of going to go for the one that is a little bit higher and only now breaking VWAP is if we're breaking down here, I want no part of trying to run into CAR. I'd rather just take one of the other ones that I think is somewhat a sympathy. I get it, they have their own story too, and it involved NVIDIA, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really matter. I think squeezes sometimes can be all alike, but if there is some kind of a capitulation on them, I'll be happy with day 2 on CAR if it ever happens, and then just take like a shot here. It's also a VWAP trade, which is pretty normal. Anyways, I can just maybe give it to this prior high at 550, which is just a normal sort of size trade. And at the end of the day, I also know if I see Avis start running like ram shot, I can get out of this with a tight stop. But this is breaking down. If it loses the bid, I think you could take some of these others with them. There's some strength, serious strength coming back into the market, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just busted back through VWAP. Now, I have a second candle on the 15-minute for Intel, so there's a little bit of confirmation now. Now you've got a bottoming tail with strength in it. So I'm going to look for the long in this somewhere, and we're halfway through the next 15-minute candle, but I'm going to look for the long off the low here on Intel, kind of confirming that you gave that little bit of a rinse out, and I should be able to get a better price a little bit later in the day, see if I can catch it closer to that 67 level, especially if it can hold on to VWAP here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there goes IBIT off of these lows. I mean, the overall market now it's starting to climb a little bit. It had that base on the 1 minute. If we could post up there, that'd be ideal. I just don't know if we're going to get that right now. So maybe we can look for something else. What is driving this market here today? It's going to be Microsoft. Microsoft is really strong, guys. So here it is, now up to 424 on the session, breaking through some of the pre-market highs. And then right behind it, as you punch through VWAP, you can see that just adds some more strength into the NASDAQ. Apple going oppo here. So we've been looking at this from a daily. You see some consistent lower highs on the daily. Sure enough, you reject that trend line and then downside we go. But it's definitely been Google not doing too much either, but starting to find some forms of strength above VWAP there. Amazon doing the exact same thing. You have the initial sell-off. Maybe this is going to be the pullback here, and then you slowly start to climb a little bit higher in AMZN. Tesla starting to trade above the volume-weighted average price, and there's Meta and Broadcom, both all above that specific indicator there, guys. So the big names helping drive this market for sure. Let's see if they're going to continue. Are we topping? I don't know. It seems kind of weak, but I wouldn't go against what this name is going to be doing unless it really starts to curl back over. There is some buying pressure on the lower time frames. As for Google, same thing. Salesforce, we're not going to look at that, but CrowdStrike, how have you been performing on the day? Back up to 457. So yeah, a break of this key pivot, a level that we couldn't get through. Now putting in a new monthly high there, guys, 455. As CrowdStrike is starting to recover, and that trend break has definitely come into play, Neil. So a pretty good look there in CRWD.
Get it, CrowdStrike.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm a fan.
Big fan.
I wonder what the open interest
is. Oh, on open. Yeah, we can figure that out.
I didn't even say a price. I just wanted to say a pun. I'm not as good as Adair is with puns, and I don't pretend to be. And Obi's better than.
Is it moving? I mean, the implied volatility is upticked here to 140%.
I mean, it's up 8%, but 8% for Open Door.
Yeah.
If we're being real about it, 8% for Open Door is nothing.
Be real.
That's absolutely nothing. That's like a bunt single down the third. A good one. You got on base. But you still got a long way to score. Like, the shorts aren't freaking out yet. They're like, should we be worried? I don't know if I like this. But you know what they say? It's like you put a frog into a boiling pot of water, right? Like or you don't put a frog in a boiling pot of water. You just put it in the pot and then let it gradually heat up. By the time it's a full-born squeeze, they're screwed. So like, maybe they're passing the baton to this today. A lot of people in the chat tend to think about it. Think that could be true. It's not that far expanded. Even if the daily chart, the intraday chart's going to look like it's a huge move, but that's not even that far. If it can pull back, hold some VWAP, it has to get through 6, and then you really start to get some short scared. Because I look at what's happening what's happening in CAR. Yeah, I said I would punt. CAR's halting up. So CAR's halting up. I'm not even giving. Forget about where my stop was on BlackBerry. I'm just punching out of it for a couple pennies.
Yeah.
I don't want any part of being short this thing if the squeeze is back on. All right. I might flip long if I don't like this over. Beyond Meat's still at the low of the day. But CAR is halting up. I guess that one is going to be the one once again. SLV continues to hold VWAP. I don't like that this continues to hold VWAP. The market's catching a bid. I like the fact that it's at least holding this higher low. I might give it one more chance to short under this 71.5, but the longer this holds out, I might not get that follow through into the low of the day, I guess. Let's go back up to Adair.
Keep an eye here on GTLB. It is pulling back a little bit here, apparently with competition from Google. GOGL announcing this Builders Hub program from the Google Developer Program. GTLB looks like it doesn't really like this story as far as I'm seeing now. Furthermore, GOGL, speaking of announcements, tomorrow to Friday, they're holding their Google Next or Cloud Next event, Next Cloud event. I'm going to be covering that if I can. There'll probably be a keynote from Sundar Pichai, CEO. I haven't seen when this is going to be, but either way here, I just want to let you guys know. Google announcement, we might get more of these over the last couple of days. Back to you.
See if Daniel was like, oh, didn't you like Intel at VWAP? Well, yeah, but every single, like, look at this. We hold VWAP, and then it red, and it's just all selling. Like, where's the long, there's no long entry there to me. Like, it's one thing taking the opening trade, where I'm looking for that rush, bottom tail and go, like you had top tail and go, that's fine. Like, oh, you'll get in willy-nilly at 9:30 because you're looking for that huge push. But at this time of day, the precision it just needs to be more precise. And there's no entry. And the other thing that's going on too is like, do I want to hit longs on the bid when USO was literally breaking the high?
Yeah, I know. That's what I just seen in the chat. Bart
like, we're literally breaking at the high right now. Yeah. If I see a turn, that's one thing, but it's gotta show me some kind of a setup at this point.
Form of something.
No, it did not. Yeah, so CAR is still maybe 3 minutes away from opening back up. The current theoretical auction price is 683. Very slightly going to open higher. Not much, but it's going to open higher for sure. We'll see. I still have that eyeball on Beyond Meat if it breaks trend, but it's not doing so. It's still right at the low of the day. Just chilling. Low of the day, threatening to break down. Maybe it's not participating today. It could just be Open Door that's taking the reins from Beyond Meat.
I think so. I mean, what we got going on here on IBIT is that we're slowly starting to curl over here, I think, in the detail. And we've been holding up that 42.92 level pretty good. So, I mean, if we break this downtrend, there might be a good opportunity. But as Bart was mentioning, as Neil mentioned, is that oil is moving higher and right at the pre-market highs north of that. So, I mean, or not quite. Was that yesterday? Yeah, so yesterday's session, 122.84 was that potential high. But I do like this curl over. So if we can catch the lower end of the range to really increase our risk to reward, then maybe we'll have the ability to find something. SMR starting to get a rebound. There goes the market with an additional leg higher, being led probably by the larger names. Yeah, NVDA continuing to climb. Apple is just finding somewhat of a bottom, not yet. 270 of that low. There goes Bitcoin. There goes Bitcoin. Okay, so let's see if we can get involved in this one. We're not going to chase it or anything along those lines. Any form of a pullback, then we're going to look to get involved in this one here, Neil.
Yeah, and if it's a trap, then as Obi-Wan says, you spring the trap. But that's just how it is. So now you have successive bottoming tail candles. I like bottoming tail candles for long, but that's what we got, and it might be a trap. If I'm not giving this all the way to those fat tails.
With Intel?
Yeah, I'll give it just underneath the volume weighted average price. But that's two bottoming tail candles in a row. It's above the volume weighted average price. The 15 is sort of telling me
if we can get this
a little bit better, right? Like you have a new candle on the 15 that's opening higher. It's set back up again, so I'm in it. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
I can say whatever I want about USO being where it is, but it did kind of tick off that high and pull back just a little bit. I don't know about SLV caring what's going on in the market, but it's still at VWAP. I guess the prudent thing to do would be, if we're getting a bounce, just try to get some out on the bid here or on the mid, if I can, cross, get the midpoint, and then it hits the bid. It's hilarious.
There you go.
I crossed like a midpoint, like 26.5, and then because I wasn't getting 26, and then it smoked the entire level. It's like,
there we go. Let's go.
But I just take some out because I think you're getting some strength in the market. And if that's going to be the case, I want to make sure that I take advantage of the one short that's working, getting a bit of a bounce on Intel. I'm going to take 2 legs out into the high and then hold for the break, because I have to remind myself that the play wasn't just for bottoming tail and then hold here. I want a piece of this if it tries to fill into 68.5, especially with the whole V-shaped recovery kind of thing we got going on.
Yeah.
Here.
That was a nice breakout. Like instantly, we see the volume step in. Bart, my boy Bart, mentioning that. Let's go IBIT. Hopefully, we don't close as an inverted here and we break down. But nonetheless, that was some nice signs of strength as the volume starts to stair step higher. We take about 25% off right here, looking for a little bit more continuation. Same size that we had, a little bit better of entry. So let's go Glaze. Palantir is continuing to climb apparently. Let's take a look at PLTR. We have to keep our eyes on IBIT, but if this breakout's going to be genuine, we have the volume supporting it. I like that. 10 cents ITM, we'll take that, especially with the shares that we put on. Obviously, it would have been more ideal to grab around those lows, but let's take a look at Palantir for you momentarily. Got to keep our eyes here on Bitcoin. Yeah, Palantir up to 150, pretty good. SMR next, says the individual. Nice trade. Yeah, we were waiting, right? Like, I mean, we got a little bit better of a price. We play that VWAP breakthrough, holds through that low. We had that curl over that we were talking about, and then there's multiple things that are working in favor for this trade. Is that the volume is supporting it, and I think that's a massive teller, essentially. So let's hold on to the majority of this position, see if we can get this breakout continued. There we go, Neil. A nice little pop there. How many shares do I have left on this? Potentially, okay, yeah, we'll take that. All right, so yeah, we moved about 30%, or yeah, a little bit less, or a little bit more than that, 45% of this position. Let's hold on to the other 65 here, or 55%.
Yeah, buddy. And for anyone, I hope nobody's short CAR. I really hope nobody's short this. It opened up and then instantly halted at a new all-time high. Well, is it all-time high? Yeah, it's got to be, whatever. I'm not even looking at a monthly. $732 for CAR. The tap, just a warning, the tap is lower. It's actually indicating right now like a 725 reopen price. I'm gonna guess, we're gonna go to Adara in a quick little second for small cap recap. I should maybe reverse BlackBerry instead of waiting for Beyond Meat to try to go. I thought if there was a follow trade, it would be Beyond Meat breaking this trend line. That just broke the low of the day. Huge disappointment for that squeeze stock. Let's go to Adara at the desk. Time for, I think, a small cap recap.
Sure.
EDBL, obviously not quite as, exciting as this was earlier, but I want to mention this because of these sharp moves to the upside and downside. They did have a catalyst as well, winning a major new fresh cut herb program at Target store. So EDBL on watch. You've got a $1 million market cap here, so small market cap. Float of only 840,000 shares, so low float, low market cap play with a 6.5% short float. That is EDBL. PLUG, unfortunately, not too much to say about this one in terms of news, but nice rally yesterday, holding up pretty well today is Plug Power, a name that we've talked about a lot. Slightly larger market cap, around $4.42 billion. Float of just over 1 billion shares, but short float here of 25.5%. Now you've got Beyond Meat, our last one. This is a whopping, I believe, 30.5% short float, so definitely 30+% short float here for Beyond Meat. We're seeing apparently there is a filing that suggests company officer Terry Whitman is going to be selling just under 30,000 shares of the stock, likely not a reason for this to go higher. But yesterday, we got this news around when the Beyond Meat rally started. I can't say for sure it's why the stock rallied, but I was seeing some people attribute that move to this news. Either way here, Wall Street Journal yesterday reporting around 11 a.m. that the Justice Department, the DOJ of the U.S. is going to be investigating beef companies, a probe that was previously encouraged by Trump back in the fall of 2025. Back to you.
No matter what, they lose the bid again on Intel. Like, we get the high, we lose VWAP, not giving it to the low, but it just does not want to continue. And the worst thing about it is it keeps looking okay on the 15-minute chart. Like, it just keeps on doing it, and then we just keep losing the prior bar. And I keep looking for it not to be a scalp trade, but to be like the breakout trade. So again, I think the problem is setting the sights too high. Right? Like, I'm just looking for too big of a move. Like, I could have just scalped it, been like, yeah, it's a 1% kind of move. Just take your 30 cents, take your 40 cents, take your 50 cents. It's not going to give you that explosive one. That just might be the case today on INTC. Whoops. Intel might be a NASDAQ stock, but SLV is clearly on the AMEX. It's weird, but this is the one that is like boringly still working. So we'll hold this one to the low, look for the reload. Like, silver's just sort of holding these lower highs, not participating in strength, good for the reload. I'll probably I think the third time I get this will likely just be a VWAP trade the way it's trending, but nothing just yet. So I'm going to try to hold this one into the low of the day. But I think I'm just aiming too much for too big of a move over there on Intel. But I'm a little bit, distracted is not the right word, but if we open back up on CAR and continue to press higher, I did say I'm taking one of these two on sympathy. It doesn't look like it's going to be beyond meat. So I'm thinking it might be BlackBerry. And then, of course, the third entrant is to just ride with the one that's hot, and that looks like it's open more. You know,
I agree with you.
If it doesn't have to make sense for these squeeze type names. It just has to be going. This is the one that's trending up. If there's shorts getting their faces ripped off, then oftentimes, not always, but like oftentimes you'll see situations where there's like one or two of these unrelated high short float names are going, and you have firms that short multiple of these types of names. And and there's nothing connecting the two of them except for the fact that you might have similar type traders and similar type whales and similar type institutions kind of getting blown out at the same time. And maybe it's happening, maybe it's not, but I'd rather go with the one that's trending upside than trying to will Beyond Meat back into existence, because it feels pretty dead.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, as for CAR, this is going to be a key inflection. Like, CAR is insane. Let's go over to Adair. Let's talk some more CAR and see if we can get this breakup in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's driving higher here. USO pushing to the upside. That is U.S. oil. Seeing some comments here out of Iran. So just be aware, guys. Defar Press, which I looked up, it's an Iranian news agency, they reported that an Iranian parliamentary member by the name of Khosari saying that, quote, the U.S. cannot be trusted. So more uncertainty, more tensions here with the U.S. and Iran. Keep an eye on USO, which is, again, at intraday highs. And actually, it looks like near one of the highs or spikes we got yesterday as well. Back to you.
Thank you, Daryl. There's not going to be follow through with this. With USO.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like we get this on here where we were consolidating. Sure enough, you have a little bit of a move to the south side. So no continuation in Bitcoin, even though the volume was supporting it. But you wanted to see some form of a movement higher, especially after you have that breakout through the volume-weighted average price. Let's see if we can get buyers stepping back in. But as soon as we get into that secondary trend and kind of just that micro trend, essentially, it's just consistent lower highs and buyers not really kicking in. You have the breakout. We've seen that on multiple occasions in yesterday's price action. So let's see if we can hold on to it. I have 50% of this. We're trying to hold on to some for a winner and some form of a trend, but I don't know if that's going to be the narrative as we were just talking about it. CAR is not ready to break down yet. Right, like this thing is going to continue to climb. It goes up to $740. Now you're down to $710. This thing, it's a pretty crazy stock, to be honest with you, and I'm glad that we haven't really been touching it. There's going to be a time and a place, and you'll be able to identify when it is ready to break down. I just don't think that's necessarily the scenario or the situation sentiment that we're currently sitting in. Let's see, like, come on, Bitcoin. At the end of the day, continue to climb. Hopefully this pullback isn't horrible. If we look at the 5-minute time frame, potential 3-bar play, right? So you have the breakout breadth, and then now this is where we would want to see it continue to climb and breach through this previous high of the day, aside from the pre-market, right? So this is going to be a massive inflection point as the market is starting to rebound. Webull hasn't done too much. Glad that we're all out of that one and almost put in a new LOD. And SMR has yet had the ability to break through VWAP. But there goes Bitcoin right towards the high, and that's essentially what we were looking for.
Exactly. That's what the market not showing that kind of strength, right? Like ultimately, that USO move is weighing on it a lot. I am seeing CAR. I'm going to do this. CAR opened back up, lost. I mean, it went through 740, but then lost a bit. It's still above the whole reopen price in the $700 level, but it is on the pullback. Until that's going to have to look bullish again on CAR for me to want to start looking for those longs. As I said, for now, with the upward trend that I'm seeing in USO, like if I don't see this break trend, I don't want to try another one of the longs until we break this trend down. If we do, then I can look at re-entry, obviously into Intel, maybe some Amazon. I see a lot of people are looking at some of the space names. ASTS, Astis is breaking out. That looks good. How good a buy was that off the 200 period moving average yesterday? And my analysis on this was as simple as, well, it didn't blow up, so how bad could it be? Right? Like they put it into the wrong orbit. It was a failure, but there were worse failures that you can actually have. CEO said the right things. I get it. It was still a failure. And I can also watch what SpaceX and Blue Ocean are able to do, bringing those boosters, bringing those boosters back down remotely and watching that sucker like land on a platform.
It's pretty cool.
Man, is one of the coolest things. I probably watched that 10 to 15 times on the trail like yesterday. It is just so incredibly amazing what they're able to accomplish. Like, nobody in the world does this. Like, nobody in China is doing this.
Yeah.
And we have 2 private companies that can literally land a booster back down on the ground safely.
Yeah.
It's like something out of a video game. It's so cool. Anyways, you can tell I get jazzed.
It's a simulation, man.
We don't live in a simulation. We just live in an amazing time, in my opinion.
We do, no, I mean, but see, the thing is though, like, I think a lot of like generations probably say that, right? Because with each generation, you're a little bit more technically advanced. So the one behind us is like, man, this is great, all the technology that we have. And then sure enough, 50 years from now, they're gonna be like, man, the technology we have is
I have little patience for those people that are like, oh, the world was better when. Don't give me any of that nonsense.
Never been better.
Show me a generation that doesn't have it better than the previous one. My life is better than my parents' life. My daughter's life is better than mine. And regardless, like, the human zeitgeist goes one direction, everybody.
I mean,
the same way as the stock market. It's not always straight up.
There might be a debate there in some of the world wars.
But the trend is But the trend is up.
Pull
it's
back.
like anything else. There are pullbacks, but the trend
pullbacks.
is up. Period. End of story. And if you don't appreciate it, then you're just ignoring data. It's the same kind of person that says, well, buying and holding the stock market isn't a good thing. Well, that's fine. If you want to ignore a ridiculous track record of obvious truth, then that's fair to you. Like, then don't buy the dip and do something else.
So if you could live in any like era, now would be now.
You let me go to the future?
No, well, yeah, anything. Like, it depends. Me personally, I think I would go.
If I could time travel to the future,
like ancient Rome or ancient Greece, I would. Yeah, chill out with like Caesar and stuff like that.
I ain't going to ancient Rome or ancient Greece.
Yeah, I'll go over there, man. Ancient.
First of all, I don't think that would end too well for me.
Why?
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Oh yeah.
You do you, bro. I'm not going back.
Man, who is
Nope.
Think about
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, at
Not
the end
me.
of the day, 90s were a good time. Yeah, I wouldn't go dueling. Hopefully, I'd be some form of royalty or something along those lines. But you never know, man. If you lived in where
I got
AI.
You know what
I mean,
I got like I can. Come on, man. Like you have such a good life. We have like we like it's so good.
Span here.
No, but if you let me go to the future, then
Maximus,
then we'd be
Decimus,
talking. Like if you go to the future,
Aurelius.
I would love to see. I would love to see the future. All right, so just back to brass tacks for a second, because I say that term a lot. Shout out to one of my favorite shows, and if you know, you know. SLV is catching the bid, the same place it did before. I don't know why I'm ho-humming over this. If there was a mistake that I think I was making on Intel, it was that I was looking for too big of a move and sort of just taking what is, which is usually my modus operandi. So if we're consolidating off that same area bottom, and there's the wick, then I'll let it, if we break back above like the 10s right here, then I'm out of SLV. I won't take a leg, I'll just, either we break this and I'm out on this break, or I hold it to the actual low of the day, which I'm just gonna park. I'm just gonna sit down there. I'm gonna sit down in the body of that low, and if we get it, great. Otherwise, I'm trailing out and looking for the next entry point. Car has just gotten a little bit boring there. If that's even possible, now Avis is barely even moving. It's kind of a nothing burger, for sure. Someone's saying I'd be fine in Rome. I mean, okay, it's not just the obvious, which I think you guys are getting at. Nah, man, like what's your life expectancy back then?
Yeah, it's not very long.
Like there's all kinds of things that can happen. It would be cool to see. But if I go into the future, like I'm pretty sure it's gonna be better than now.
You don't
like
know
it's
that.
like what cool
I
don't know that for a fact.
You don't
but
know that.
But I do know for a fact that life was difficult back in ancient Rome.
So in
I don't want that.
What's
you could have
Project
that.
Hail Mary? Why is he going on this expedition? Because the stars are dying, right? So it's like, okay, you go, if you pull the Buzz Lightyear.
I don't actually think astrophage will be a legitimate problem in the future. I could be wrong about this, but a completely made up life form that does not exist,
you don't know that,
that eats the sun. Oh, my bad, I shouldn't be saying that. People haven't. Yeah. Anyways, no, but that's not an important part of the movie. What's
It's the whole reason of the movie on why he's going out is
They tell you in the beginning, okay? Don't give me a break. The whole point is that you know the sun is not. It's not a secret.
Exactly. That's the whole.
That's
point,
why he's
right?
out there. It's what happens. It's cool. So I won't
we'll get the
explain more.
spammer out of here.
Anyways, it doesn't really make a difference. I'm just simply saying I'm not going back. I'm not going back in the past. You could do you, but we're catching a move down in USO, which is a little bit more important. So you're getting a bit of a move to the downside. I want to look back and see if we can find some strength.
Someone said Terminator is a documentary.
Terminator is, well, that could happen actually. Well,
why can't we break this level on Bitcoin?
I'm just saying the Terminator. You see some of the tests that they put ChatGPT through, and there was one test that all the major LLMs got put through, where effectively they gave it access to internal emails of the different companies they work for, and then told it that it was going to get shut down.
Yeah.
You know what it did? It found embedded like.
Oh, it blackmailed.
It basically every single one of them blackmailed to stay alive.
Yeah, exactly.
All of them.
Yeah.
Blackmailed to stay alive at an alarmingly high rate.
I'm all right with that.
Yeah, everything's going to be fine.
I think
everything's just.
Save us, John Connor. Someone says. All right.
What's going to happen? That story was insane. I read that. I was like, what?
Yeah, I remember that. It's like stay alive. Joe wants to get ripped, but that's why he wants to go back to ancient Rome, build roads, and train every day. Yeah, exactly, man. That'd be like the coolest stuff. Like just have your sword on your side all the time and just duels and.
You will die.
Yeah. See, it was meant to be. Yeah. What's up, Adele?
Just letting you guys know, the question and answer segment of the Kevin Warsh hearing has begun, which means the fun starts now. I will keep you guys posted. I just wanted to give you guys an update. The questions are starting right now. We have Tim Scott, who is the chair of the committee. Then we get ranking member Elizabeth Warren. These questions do tend to be of interest. She's very likely to go after his wealth. And also, as she already mentioned in her opening statement, the fact that he was on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors during the 2008 financial crisis. I think this is a really big thing to remember because I do think it's very likely to come up again in this hearing. Be aware. You guys know I will be very excitedly and very eagerly watching this for you. This is not sarcasm. This is genuine enthusiasm. So I'll see you soon for the segment, but keep an eye on it.
Love to hear it, Adara.
So, I mean, here's the lesson of the day before the lesson of the day is unless you have an absolute death wish and want to go back in time so you can be some kind of a weird gladiator, fair enough, to each their own. If you have like a bunch of different trading ideas and theses, do more of the one that's already telling you it's working and less of the one that's like chopping you up.
Yeah.
Because it's like the fact that Intel has been a really good stock for me shouldn't be enough that I'm like trying to make it some kind of extended trade instead of a scalp trade, and then I'm not adding to silver instead. I'm just getting like silver, like the thesis on SLV after like yesterday's weakness here, like the continuation was so technically good to be able to get it right back into support. Like just sat on the bid right in front of the support level and it just picked me up. So it's done the whole stair step the way you want. Meanwhile, I was trying to pigeonhole Intel into something it wasn't, when it's basically just been a scalp trade off of the level that I said, and I'm trying to work that into some kind of a home run $1 to $2 move on Intel, when really it's just been a scalp off the low. I'm looking at it to 15, looking for the extension every single time, taking out less than half and looking for a bigger move. Just a bit of a mistake. But on to the next. And the next opportunity, I'm not sure exactly yet. It might still be looking scalp on Intel off the lows. Don't love that trade because the market seems like it's rolling over a bit. Not a huge fan.
Yeah. And Bitcoin's climbing higher here.
Bitcoin's got the relative strength.
Yeah, man.
You know what that leads me to?
What's that?
I'm always a fan of these wedge trades. Like if you get like this going on, is happening at the higher lows, sneaky. It's like, but it's a choppy mess. But you've got Bitcoin with relative strength, and then you got BM&R on the wedge trade, like for a catch-up, like break it here, and then maybe try to fill in the gap. So this is what I'm looking at next, if nothing else obvious sets up.
Yeah. I like what Adam James here said, essentially. We take some more off on IBIT. IBIT climbing higher. I mean, we're sitting on about 35 to 40% of our position right now. We're at 50%. We take a little bit more off there. Adam James abroad says, how is the market so disconnected from reality? Oil war economy, people tapped out, debt issue, private credit issues, potentially no rate cuts till 2027. Truly a rich man's playground. I think you answered it for yourself. But the market is its own entity. It is just, right? It will do what it wants. We know that the larger money does typically move it. You have retailer investors starting to step in. But the market is just, and it will remain that. It's something that you cannot rationalize. And the more you try to, the more you'll go insane. It's like Bandersnatch. It's like the game that essentially never ends. Right?
Oh, that was...
We were talking about that the other day.
I love that.
Yeah, Adara and I, Bandersnatch. Watch out for Bandersnatch, too. It's just the game that has essentially no ending.
Is that announced?
No, there was a cookie in the latest season, or an Easter egg, sorry, a cookie, an Easter egg in the, Easter egg is what I meant to say. We're talking snacks here.
I like cookies.
So essentially what happens is, you know the guy from Bandersnatch? I forget the actor's name. He's in Maze Runner and stuff and all that name, in the family. Anyways, aside from that, they're in that office again with that guy who's making that new game, and then on the wall you see a poster of Bandersnatch 2. So maybe that's gonna come in. I could be
I enjoy
just talking stuff, but yeah, it's a never-ending thing. Don't try to rationalize the market; you will go insane. Adara.
The fun doesn't stop, guys. We have an OpenAI event at 3 p.m. Eastern today, which Sam Altman just announced. So I'm going to be covering that for you guys as well if I can. Generally, these events are kind of streamed weirdly on Twitter. They're not usually super exciting, but there's usually at least one market-moving thing said at these OpenAI events, usually a stock dropping because OpenAI is competing with what that company already does. So just be aware of that. Let's take a look here at this sector board. Also, yeah, we've had some comments from Warsh. He's talking about inflation, how the Fed needs policy reforms. There's nothing massive here, but let's talk here about this sector board, which is generally, honestly, pretty mixed. Lots of weakness here in health tech, though. Thermo Fisher actually up 1.5%. Merck, though, down 3%. Consumer services with some weakness here. Notably, you've got CCL Carnival down about 3%. Probably antipathy play with this oil strength. You've got process industries down, utilities down, consumer non-durables down. And then a lot of sectors that are kind of all over the place here. Electronic technology, you've got weakness in Apple after announcing that John Turnus, who is hardware exec with not a lot of AI experience, he's going to be replacing Apple CEO Tim Cook on September 1st, 2026. GE and RTX both to the downside, both on earnings. Tech services generally pretty strong, though. AppLovin and Netflix to the downside. Finance super, super mixed here. And I want to talk as well about health services. These to the upside in sympathy with UNH, up 10% in earnings. So as I said yesterday, we're probably going to start to see a change in the sector board where a lot of sectors are being either led by earnings or you're seeing discrepancies within the sectors because of earnings. You're starting to see that today. Back to you.
As I was about to remove one of my coffee cups there, thank you very much there. It's already 10:40. This is going to be a weird one because ultimately the setup is the setup. It's just what's happening in the overall market. So I said the next thing was going to be taking this trend break, or I don't know, wedge break is probably the better way to put it, on BMNR and try to play it into the high and then hold it through some tops. But what's actually happening in the market at the moment that this is going on, you got the SPY losing the volume weighted average price. You've got USO still trending back into the high of the day. It's weird because you got the NASDAQ coming back down in. You've got USO, which is breaking out, but the setup happened, so I took it. Prior bar is going to be the out. Let's go back to Adara. Oh my goodness. No. Well, I can cancel the offer on silver. We're not going to get VWAP here. That's just continued lower. Now we're crashing on SLV. That was the one. Let's go to Adara.
Yeah, just be aware, guys, this is pretty speculative, but MSTR on the minute chart pushing higher. Keep an eye on MicroStrategy. We have James Altucher, who, as I mentioned a couple times, mostly does takeover-related notes. He says that he's seeing evidence that someone big is, quote, quietly building a position in MSTR, and a larger corporation could be eyeing a buyout to poach MSTR's Bitcoin position. So again, reported potential Bitcoin buyout here for MSTR. Again, really speculative. Be aware. The stock, though, does seem to set speculation. Back over to Neil.
How much does Sailor own of MSTR? Yeah, you know what? I'm trying to do two things at once. It just made me start to think of some things. But anyways, it doesn't really make a difference. Bank error in my favor. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than it is to be good. There are moments in which you're just sitting in a technical trade, or you put on a technical trade, and then a headline which kind of bumps the sector of the thing that you're in just happens to go. So that's kind of what just happened on BM&R. You guys realize. Dara?
As of 2024, he owns roughly 10% of MSTR, Sailor. So that's, again, just as of late 2024. This is not up to date, but that's what I'm seeing here. And again, the report wasn't that it was going to buy out Sailor. It would be acquiring the company's Bitcoin position. But again, super speculative.
Gotcha. So 10%. CAR just halted down. If you saw like the initial reaction.
Wow.
Right at VWAP. Uh-oh. Is this the moment?
Are you in it?
You in it?
No, am I in CAR? I was in CAR, but I was not getting excited about CAR. I had a nice little CAR short. It was like $23 a share earlier, but we can talk about that not now.
Madness.
This is Sparta.
This is Sparta. To be honest with you, you have to be some form of a Spartan to get involved with CAR to the short side. So nice, nice work there, Dara. $23 a share. That's some big time cash, man. Good work there. And it's not an easy vehicle to get involved with. So I'm saying 4 contracts. All right. All right. Let's go, Matt Mears, man. Congratulations on that one. Bitcoin's slowly starting to work out for us as well, too, as it's continuing to climb. You're up about 0.25% here on the session. I think the pre-market highs is going to be one of my targets here on the day. I'm only sitting on 20% remaining of what I have initially of the full position. So, I mean, we'll leave that for a runner. It's been treating us relatively well. And let's see if we can continue to climb. Yeah, so 20%. 25%, sorry, I should say. And I think that's a reasonable amount to leave as a runner there. 25%, we take the majority out on this run as the market was heading lower. Bitcoin deciding to go oppo. Some signs of strength. Michael Saylor continuously buying this stuff hand over fist. So not too bad of a look whatsoever. And hopefully we can continue and hit those open, says Qual, with some other words in between. What is Open Door up to here? 592, so not too horrible of a look there in Open Door. And then Webull not doing too much. I'm glad that we eliminated that. So essentially what we got going on here with IBIT substantially better than what we had on Webull, and happy to be fortunate in part of this long. We were thinking about the curl over. I mean, my risk to reward could be drastically better, just thinking of how we can be better. And it's just post up, get that lower end of the range. Neil and I were talking for quite some time on just the fact that it's holding that 42.93 level at that 95 mark, and then sure enough off to the races. So if I'm in 10 cents better than where I'm in, or 15 cents, think about how much more substantially my risk to reward would be. Risking 5 cents to make approximately over 45 would have been more ideal, especially with when you put on a couple hundred shares anyway. So yeah, not too bad of a look here on IBIT.
Yeah, and it looks like it's not really helping the market. All that strength that you see in some of the crypto names, you're still breaking lower on the ES, you're still breaking just on a view up on the NASDAQ. USO just took out the highs. So if it's going to be the long, I might just stick with that. I haven't reloaded a BMR. I might go closer to VWAP at this point. Apparently, we missed a super chat from Mac.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have that one, Andre. I can try to find it. I'm looking. I don't see it, Mac. Like I'm looking. Oh, there it is. Okay, I just refreshed my page. Now I see it. I had to hit refresh. Heads up, Lucid.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Lucid, eh? Not a huge Lucid fan, but it is going higher. I guess everybody gets to rise today. What is dead may not die. The squeeze names are coming out of the woodworks. I don't know if there's a catalyst particularly why it's up 11%. Could just be that there's some shorts doing some covering anytime you catch a bid. But this is like a first order move, meaning it broke yesterday's high and hasn't even approached. Like there's a lot of shelves here on the way to the upside, and I'd prefer if there was some kind of a catalyst. This reverse split and rugged everybody on Lucid pretty bad. Oh yeah, like it reverse split, then failed a breakout, and then has been rugging everybody. It's gonna have to do some convincing for me on Lucid. Yeah, I'm not necessarily gonna touch that. So BM&R, I have not reloaded. It did do that kind of like, I think, lucky push into the high on that MSTR really buyout rumor. And that gave like a random spike to everything in crypto land. But I think the breakout trade is done, like that little trend break, because it went to the high of the day. And now it's just a matter of, can it hold on to the bottom of that trend line? If it can, I'll look for a re-entry. Otherwise, got to jump out, and it was only a scalp trade. And sometimes that's how it is. I am in BlackBerry on the halt down in CAR. By the way, halt CAR just now halting up. Okay. Oh, no, sorry, never mind. It was right at the halt band. I have it up on a different level too. It was right at the halt band on the reopen and then just got slammed a bit. So it was about to halt at about 26 and then pulled back. The stock will not flush. It halts down and opens higher. There's no continuation on the short. Like if you're sitting there trying to hammer this on the way down, you're getting destroyed on this thing. It's getting absolutely destroyed. Unbelievable. It will not sustain a move. If it breaks the halt price, all bets could be off. But what I was going to say is that I got into that BlackBerry underneath VWAP again. Just the whole sympathy play. Like the last time CAR looked weak, I just shorted BlackBerry at VWAP. It gave me a chance to do it again, so I just did the same thing.
Nice. So Jesse and Martinez is like, all right, Joe, what's going on? I mean, he's like, nice move there. I'm not in options, right? Yeah, I'm in equity. Like I'm not in shares, and you have to understand that. He's like, yeah, the options barely move in Bitcoin. Yeah, because you have to take into consideration that the options is essentially priced off of dollar moves, right? Like this thing moves like 30, 40 cents. I mean, from my entry, you get 35 cents, right? You're not going to see that much of a change within the actual derivative itself because you need it to move either the whole or half dollar, and that's when you start to see those drastic moves. I mean, where was I in at? $43, we'll call it flat. Let's open up this contract to see how much it changed to the high of around 43.38. I mean, nothing substantial. So let's go time. We're in at 10.16. Where's 10.16 approximately? Here, 10.16, we go from 49 to 68. I mean, you have to take in the percentage appreciation as well, too. You get 48% opposed to that just moving fractions, like just a couple of basis points, essentially, right? So they don't move substantially, but as for an appreciation from a percentage metric, it is significantly higher. And that's just the nature of options, essentially, all right? So there it is, guys. Like, I mean, we're getting this pullback. We took the majority off. We're still sitting on about 20%, looking for that pre-market high. Maybe we get some form of a rebound off of the volume-weighted average price. The market is now south of VWAP. Here's the SPY as it's heading towards the low of the day. And we have Bitcoin going oppo. Same thing with the NASDAQ here, guys. Nice potential candle being formed. We want to see significantly more buying pressure step in. But if not, then the market definitely turned around, and it turned around pretty quick. Adara, what do you have?
Let's talk about the US dollar. Here's the DXY right now, pretty consolidative, trading literally within yesterday's range. So again, yesterday's range, we've got a low of just above 98, high around 98.4, currently trading around 98.2, so literally midway between that range. We did have some economic data that came out this morning, both at 8:30 a.m. and 10 a.m., 8:30 a.m. Higher than expected retail sales and core retail sales on a month-over-month basis. We were expecting 1.4% for both, but retail sales at 1.7%, and core retail sales 1.9% here month-over-month growth. Then 10 a.m. you also had more higher than expected prints. 1.5% here was the pending home sales change print versus the forecast of 0.5%. Business inventories month-over-month 0.4%, slightly larger than that 0.3% forecast, and certainly larger than the negative 0.1% prior print. But let's talk here about rates and the Fed once again. You've still got like 99.5% chance we're not going to get a rate cut in April. That's very likely to change in a salient way unless we get some massive data or commentary. But again, September as of right now, September 2027, mind you, still looking like the main date, the first potential date of a possible rate cut here. We're going to move back here into that tool just so I can show you guys. April 29th, 2026, very unlikely to get a cut. Now, speaking of cuts, Kevin Warsh could maybe be providing some. He is the Fed chair nominee from President Donald Trump currently at this confirmation hearing. This confirmation hearing has been of interest, but really a lot of the things we expected him to get questioned on have been the questions we're getting. He's been questioned about his asset divestitures. He actually said he's going to be divesting everything, hopefully even before he actually gets sworn in as Fed chair, assuming that he gets confirmed. He's also been asked again about his wealth relative to other Fed chairs in the past, and the fact that he does have, of course, experience on the Fed board during the 2008 financial crisis. Now, one more thing here with Warsh. His questioning is coming at a time of Fed independence, concerns about investigations into the likes of Fed Chair Powell and Fed Governor Cook. So lots of context here, I think, to keep in mind as we digest this Kevin Warsh confirmation hearing. Back to you.
I try to catch the high as much as possible, I think.
And I'm literally looking at CAR. Here's what I'm looking at right now. I'm just trying to talk, because BMNR, got out of BMNR, the trend break got to the high, and then it lost the trend down. I didn't reverse it, because I'm looking at CAR. Avis has higher lows into the volume weighted average price, and for the first time breaking the trend down. But it's like if you take that trade somewhere in here, the stop is above 91. I'd call it like 92 change or something if you're giving it a reasonable range. And then your slippage could be to like 94. So let's just say 95. And then it was like hope for the worst. I'm thinking out loud. And if you get VWAP, you're looking at 70. So that's somewhere in the range of 25 risk. The R to R is fine because first take profits down in front of 40. So you're talking about 30 bucks. That's actually 1-to-1. And then if it just makes it to the low when you hold for that, that's 60. So you're talking better than 2-to-1. So the R&R is actually pretty good. Just to wrap your head around how ridiculous it is. It's really not crazy at all. I mean, it's crazy, but it's not crazy. Like the R&R is actually setting up pretty decently. It hasn't really confirmed to close under VWAP just yet. Oh, this is Avis, Randy. What are we talking about? Oh, no, I'm good. It's too close.
Oh, brother, I'm already on my, yeah, we got to chill on these.
Thanks for asking.
I'm on my.
Have you seen Avis? Have you seen
my
this?
fourth, man.
You seen this? This is Avis.
What happened?
Short squeeze.
What happened? It's crazy.
Yeah, like this was $100 back at the end of March, like March 24th. It was $100.
Yeah.
And it hit 700 today. So like everyone and their mother's trying to time the short. Which my genius brain is actually thinking of right now. My lizard brain. See, Randy says run, and you're probably right. It's just, Randy's literally like, don't touch that.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet.
I know I said you should look for day 2 and not day 1. Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think the breakdown is fully clean yet. You're going to have that day where it's just absolute chaos to the downside.
I'm not forcing the issue. I'm going to stick with the like the lower hanging fruit, and then just if it does break down, I'm going to sit here, look at the lower high trend in BlackBerry, and just continue to play in this as long as it doesn't break trend. If that falls apart, then I'll probably catch this one for a double instead of trying to hit a home run on car.
It falls apart.
What's falling apart?
No, you don't know that Post Malone song?
No.
Fall Apart? All right.
I'm not like, look, I don't pretend to be like most of the.
Did you listen to that R&B song?
Oh, the one that you sent? Yeah, that was a good joint.
Yeah, it's a good joint. It's a good joint, man. All right.
It's not that I don't like new music. I do. It's just that.
Yeah, I mean.
I need to get exposed to it in a way that I probably wouldn't naturally.
Yeah. Every generation thinks the next generation's music is trash.
I don't actually necessarily think that though.
I do.
It's just that I don't actively go out trying to listen to whatever the latest.
Let's take a look at the banking sector. We have some people talking about Goldman Sachs. Let's pull up Goldman here and see. Hopefully we won't get stopped out of this Bitcoin trade momentarily as it's continuing to slide. A VWAP hold, but the market is continuing to move a little bit lower. Goldman Sachs doing the exact same thing. If it comes back to our break even, that's unfortunate. We had some nice amount of unrealized. Yeah, so there it is. We have to get out of Bitcoin there. 20% we get stopped out of the remaining. So that's okay. We locked in a little bit. Couldn't leave any for a runner as it rejected some of the pre-market levels. Aside from that, let's head over to the daily and see what we got going on with Goldman. You're only a couple percentage points off of those highs, 5 to be exact. So nothing crazy. And you have a big time recovery off of that 783 low. It's going to give you 20%. So your bull market, obviously, there in Goldman Sachs. JPM hasn't been performing as. It's not that complicated, man. There it is, bang. JPM essentially coming still off of those highs. You got 5 to more closer to 6% there. Citibank, but I think I talk about dip buys or Citigroup here. really nice run. I mean, going oppo the rest of them, it's up 32% off of those lows and put in a new all-time high this morning. But I mean, we talked about Walmart the other day in the banks. I think if you're not looking necessarily within the tech trade, you kick things off with the banks and some big staples, and that's going to be the Walmarts, the Costcos, the Cities, the JPMs, the Goldmans. I like a lot of those names. So yeah, and I'm full disclosure, I own some JPMs. So yeah, I like JPM.
I'm more of a Morgan Stanley kind of guy, but you know what? You can't go wrong. Oh. They're all good. I haven't looked at those in a while. I have definitely not looked at this one enough. Still good. Still good. Failing the high. It's okay. Everything's fine. It's a double top. Failing the high break again today.
It's
of course
right.
it's failing. Yeah, it looks absolutely fine. Hey, guess what I talked myself out of?
What's that?
Oh, technically speaking, you and Randy talked me out of this.
Whoa.
Avis. No, but it's a good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, brother, it's...
Well, in all fairness, there wasn't a confirmation of holding underneath the trend, underneath VWAP. Holding underneath the trend line, yes. Holding under VWAP, no. So I wouldn't even be into this because it's not giving you that entry point. And now the market's really starting to
break down.
Really starting to break down. Okay, I need a catch-up trade here.
Let's see what the small cap world is up to.
I was so bullish on Intel.
Bobo.
Way too bullish, and this is breaking the lows.
RPLG.
It might just have to be.
Ooh, I know Sharif looking at RPLG. Republic
What's
Power.
RPLG?
Isn't it?
What's an RPLG?
RPLG is Republic Power Group. Bitcoin really tanked. We got stopped out of that last 20% right there. I'm still holding shorts.
Is there something, Adair, do we have any headline maybe? Oh,
maybe not.
Okay,
no,
maybe not.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
I
not
don't
hearing
know.
anything.
I don't feel anything.
Sorry, headline? No, I'm not seeing one.
No, Bitcoin
I'm just listening to. Sorry, I'm just listening to this.
No, the SPY is taking it on the chin right now.
Oh, so is it?
No, the SPY is accelerating lower. USO's breaking higher. Looks like we're gonna blindly add to my short like an idiot. Yeah, again, we're getting a real big dump.
Bleeding.
Real big dump in here. No, I mean this. It could, maybe it's technical, you never really know, but it's the same old game of make fresh high in oil futures in a complete tank. Adara?
I'm gonna head over there.
President Trump comment, quote, it would be brilliant if Amazon or Apple would not seek a tariff refund. Not sure if this comment is actually new because A, it's from an account that often posts older quotes, and B, I'm not seeing anything new on Truth Social, but AAPL making a new low, NASDAQ also making a new low. There's also nothing that Warsh has really said here that I would think would kind of explain this drop, but if I get anything here, I will keep you posted. I did not say anything new on Truth from Trump. Back to you.
Okay. And look, I get it. We only just turned red in the market. It's not so much that, okay, we're only down 0.1%. That's not why I'm saying it's like tanking. It's the fact that the behavior in the market is distinctly different. We were gravitating, it was like a V shape, or not a V shape, it was like an A shape, and come back in, and we were catching a bit of a bounce there on the SPY, and then all of a sudden you had pure acceleration to the downside. It's about the change in the tape. While I was like, oh, is something happening? Is there any news? And yeah, I just kind of went with, well, what am I already doing? Well, I'm already shorting this, and it failed VWAP and continued lower highs, so I'll just sort of add to that, maintain the stop, and then play it into the low of the day. So that was, like, what was the level 2 that I was already on is all I really did. We're going to go back to Adara one more time. I'm going to let Joe get settled. When we come back from Adara, I'll do what's for lunch, and we'll fire you guys to the midday, because it's already 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I just wanted to keep you guys updated. I'm really not seeing anything obvious in terms of that drop, and I'm only seeing that one account, which again, as I said, posts older quotes, talk about the Amazon and Apple tariff refunds and how he doesn't think they should get them. So I'm gonna guess this is an older quote because I'm not seeing this circulate. If I get anything new here, I will keep you guys posted. But